a liberal, depending on who you ask. Good evening. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is going to be an abbreviated live. I'm going to be candid. I am slightly under the weather, so I'm dealing with the initial stages of a cold. So, got the nauseum thing going on, all of that shit. So tonight's not gonna be as long as we normally do them, but we're gonna get in here and chop it up with the folks. And I do want to hear from you folks on a host of opinions. We got three topics tonight. You know, the show is always multi. We have more than one topic always, and tonight is no different. We're gonna have multiple topics tonight. I want to start out by we're gonna get into the hypocrisy thing, because you see the graphic I had up there. But before we get into that, I want to get into what could be some really good news for President Trump, and that is the notion that he is indeed eyeing the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, he met with Vladimir Zelensky of the Ukraine today, and he also met with European leaders as well. And by all intents and purposes, that meeting did not go that bad. Now, if you recall, the stalemate was Russia has occupied a good 20% almost of the Ukraine. Russia wants to keep what they've taken. The Ukraine does not want that to happen. Well, listening to Zelensky today, it seems to be some cracks in his stalemate. So I'm just being honest. It's starting to look more like Zelensky might be the one that caves as opposed to Russia. I don't know how. Now Russia wants the Donbass region. I don't have a map of the Ukraine to put up right now, and I'm not going to do that anyway, because I don't think most of us know exactly a lot logistically about the Ukraine. But just for shits and giggles, we'll say a good chunk of the a good chunk of the eastern part of the Ukraine is under Russian control, and they want to keep some of it. They want to keep some of it, not all of it. They're willing to give back some of it, but they want to keep some of it, and that's what their condition is for a ceasefire. Obviously, the Ukraine does not want to tender any of their territory, but if they don't, they may face being completely overrun by the Russians, who seem hell-bent on continuing this no matter what the losses are. And understand, Russia is not just striking military targets. They're taking out apartment buildings, schools, they're taking out public transit facilities, subways. They do not care. They are there to terrorize the population of the Ukraine. So with that happening, the people of Ukraine are growing war weary. So to get the suffering to stop, the people of Ukraine are likely, and I'm speculating here because I haven't heard the reports, but I can tell that Zelensky is starting to soften up. Most likely the people of Ukraine are just like, do whatever it takes. If we lose a little bit of land as opposed to total annihilation, just do it. So it sounds, and I'm speculating, but it does sound like that's the direction the nation of the Ukraine is going in. Now, they did get a little bit of concession. It's also, just like the Ukraine is softening up, President Trump is somewhat softening up, to the point where they're now starting to make it sound like if Russia does come back and decide to attack the Ukraine a second time, or no, maybe it'll be about a fourth time at this point. But after this conflict, if there's a ceasefire and Russia comes back in the future, the Trump administration, and so goes the European Union, are making it sound like they're more likely to commit to helping the Ukrainians. So take that with a grain of salt, but the Trump administration is sounding like they are starting to soften their stance on that. Like almost akin to Article 5 protections. But as opposed to NATO, it'll be a European and EU type thing. But you're starting to get more nations that are speaking up like, okay, listen, Russia has won some land. If you're willing to give them a little bit of this land, and get the ceasefire, we will help you if they come back and attack again. Now, Russia's attacked a lot. So for folks, particularly my beloved MAGA audience, who give them the land and all of this, they're not gonna come back. There is a lot of reason to feel confident Russia may try to attack again. Georgia in 2008, Crimea in 2014. Now we're dealing with this event. So it's not like Russia hasn't been coming back over and over again. And keep in mind, when this whole thing broke out, Russia started with a group of mercenaries called the Wagner Group. And they were denying that they were even attacking Ukraine. So they started out completely lying about it. So Russia has not been fair players in this by any means. In fact, I believe that violates the Geneva Convention to send armed soldiers into enemy territory with no identifying marks, no uniforms or anything, and just start a war. I mean, that's kind of how this started. But we will talk about all of that. But we're talking about Trump potentially getting a Nobel Peace Prize. Talking about getting the potential of Trump getting a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I know some folks, particularly the liberal side of the audience, does not want to entertain that. But fact is, if Trump could end the Russian-Ukraine war, and make no mistake about it, nobody's trying harder to end that war than he is. Nobody, even the Biden administration, was continuing to aid the Ukraine with weapons. Trump is worthy of credit in terms of no one has tried harder to talk to both the Ukraine and Russia to end that war. Trump is probably number one in that. He campaigned on wanting the war to end. People didn't like how he was talking about doing it. But he certainly is been more focused on ending the Ukraine-Russian war than probably any other world leader on earth. Most of the other world leaders were either taking the side of Russia, very few, like Belarus. Most of the world leaders were taking the side of the Ukraine. But they weren't talking about it from a standpoint of trying to get a ceasefire. They were talking about it from a standpoint of helping the Ukrainians fight the Russians. So Trump, by far, has done more to end that war than anyone. So we're talking about the possibility of a Nobel Peace Prize. Look, I'm not going to say that he's going to get a Nobel Peace Prize, but I'm going to just simply point out, if he ends that war, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. That will be a huge, huge war to end. Now, my humble opinion is that doing nothing to stop what's going on in Gaza and Ukraine would hurt Trump bad. Now, if he could end both of those, I think he's gotten it. If he could also end the Palestinian-Israeli conflict as well, I think his chances of getting a Nobel Peace Prize increase significantly. However, it depends on how it ends. I mean, if you can end the war between the Israelis and the Palestinians with the Palestinians completely losing their homeland, that ain't gonna be a good outcome. And that's what it seems that Israel wants to do. That's not, you can't end the war by making the people homeless. So I think the Israeli-Palestinian conflict might be a big hurdle against Trump getting the Nobel Peace Prize, because America is the country that's funding and supplying Israel with weapons. So Israel might cause Trump to get disqualified. But it's pretty clear Trump wants the Nobel Peace Prize. It's pretty clear he wants that. He is eyeing that. So we'll see how that goes. But in my humble opinion, he needs to do an about face on backing Netanyahu like 6 months ago. That's a problem. That's a problem because the world does not like that. Anyhow, we're going to talk about the possibility of him obtaining the Nobel Peace Prize. I want to hear from you folks how you feel about that. But like I said, that's not the only topic. Now, the second topic we're going to get into is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is every damn where. There's hypocrisy on the left. There's hypocrisy on the right. However, I'm going to give you some hypocrisy that is in modern times. Now, how many of you folks remember Hurricane Sandy from 2012? Remember when President Obama was in office and a hurricane struck New Jersey, located as governor at the time. Chris Christie was governor of New Jersey at the time, and he was in really good standing with the Republican Party, which is why he ended up running for president a couple times after that. During that period, he was very critical of Obama, and the right really liked Chris Christie. Now, he's fallen in favor since then because he's had spats with Trump, and there's no way to have a spat with Trump and remain in good standing with the Republican Party. But back in that day, he was. And when Hurricane Sandy hit his state that he was governor of, Obama authorized FEMA funding for New Jersey, and when he went down to meet Chris Christie, the two shook hands and had a warm embrace, which you see on the screen behind me. And this was viewed as literally shaking hands with the enemy. I don't know how many of you folks remember. We're in 2012 now. This was considered as literally shaking hands with the enemy. And it carried on for quite a while. In fact, one of the debates when Chris Christie was running for the nation's highest office, I believe Paul Ryan used this against him, being seen yucking it up with Obama. This was considered during the time as fraternizing with the enemy. In fact, Fox News at the time, as you might expect, was not big on, any conservative fraternizing with the enemy.
So I'll go off the record. You heard me apologize to Governor Christie for my loose use of the term hug. Now here's the picture of the day I was talking about. It was taken October 31st, 2012. And this is the important date because it was only 6 days before the November 2012 election, and many Republicans have been unhappy with Governor Christie for his greeting that day of President Obama, who then went on to trounce Governor Romney in the election. Now, after looking at the picture and the video, I concluded there was no hug. That was Governor Christie extending his hand to greet the president, and the president arrived in New Jersey to check out the damage just 3 days after Hurricane Sandy had slammed the state.
So why the hell am I bringing this up? This is old news. This is 13 years ago. Why the hell am I bringing this up? That it was a big deal during the time that Obama and Chris Christie exchanged what now Greta Van Susteren, who was on Fox at the time, admits she criticized it for being a hug back then, but then on second thought, she realized it was not a hug. So why am I bringing that up in regards to hypocrisy? Well, when I bring up Chris Christie, on the screen you see there giving Obama at the time an embrace, and this is being viewed as fraternizing the enemy. I want you to look at another picture and tell me what is the difference between that picture and this picture. Now, this is Trump giving a warm embrace to Vladimir Putin. Now, there is no denying. There's no one going to deny that Putin is the enemy. I'm asking the question, why is it all of a sudden okay when Trump is fraternizing with the enemy versus Chris Christie at the time? And by the way, that's not the only picture. Then we got another one here, which I think is even more significant, where it features Vladimir Putin literally sitting in the back of the Beast, the presidential limo, with a huge smile on his face. So I'm asking, how did Chris Christie take such a beating, but when Trump did this, it's all of a sudden a good thing now? Now, I understand the whole notion is, listen, President Trump was meeting with Putin because he's trying to stop a war. Well, Chris Christie was trying to help make sure American citizens who suffered during Hurricane Sandy was getting relief. What's the difference? I'm talking about hypocrisy in politics. Why is Trump fraternizing with a very long-time enemy of the United States, viewed positively, but when Chris Christie actually fraternized with the president of the United States that just happened to be from the other party, it was viewed as wrong? I'm certainly going to be looking forward to people coming up in the box and in the comments and explaining the difference there. Why it's okay for Trump to fraternize with this enemy, but it was not okay for Chris Christie to do it with Obama, who happened to be the president of the United States. So we're going to certainly talk about that. And last but not least, this one is, in regards to the third topic, this one might actually be, I dare to say, heartbreaking to some. Now, it's just a regular American citizen giving or take, but I'm asking this question because remember when Biden was in office telling us how great the stock market was, and everybody was making it clear, I can't afford eggs, I can't afford milk, I can't afford groceries, I don't give a damn what the stock market is doing, I don't believe what Biden is saying about the economy. If I cannot afford to purchase groceries, my perception is the economy sucks. despite what the president was telling folks. Well, now we've gotten rid of Biden and we have Trump in there. And Trump is making it clear, since I became president, prices of groceries have come down, the price of gas has come down. We're now great again. Remember, he's going around saying that America was dead. Literally, that is the actual quote. He said at this time last year, America was dead. And now we're back alive again. I also believe he says America's the hottest nation on earth right now, suggesting that our economy is booming. He didn't like the job numbers, so you can assume a correction to that's coming out, but he is stating that the economy is really good right now. So what is your perception, just like in the Biden administration? What is your current perception of the economy? Is it exactly like Trump is saying, whereas it may not have been the same way Biden said it?
Hey, TikTok. I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois, and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. Like, I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
I don't think it's easy to have a great day at the internet. But I want to ask you folks, do you, because this is something that would have been mused. Now listen, I see in the comments, somebody says, who cares? Creed says, who cares about this woman? But let's be real. If this woman was saying this a year ago, it would be on Fox News. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I think many of you would agree with that. If she was saying this a year ago, when Biden and Kamala Harris was claiming the economy was doing well, Fox News would have played this. But it's happening under Trump. And I'm asking you folks, is it possible that perhaps just like President Biden, President Trump is also painting the economy in a way that is not reality for the average American? So those are going to be our three topics. Going to be talking about Trump potentially eyeing the Nobel Peace Prize, hypocrisy in politics, fraternizing with the enemy, and what do you think of the current economy? You guys know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor. We are MAGA friendly. Always have been, always will be. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Dongos! Appreciate the roast to open it up. Thank you, Dongos. So we are going to be proceeding with the line. Looking in the comments, you got what you wish for, says Tyrone Taylor. What are you talking about? Protecting women's sports? Securing the border? You got what you wish for. What do you mean by that? No, it's good. I am making more money than I have ever. I would like to know, Redneck 3712, you're saying the economy is good, you're making more money than ever before. First question comes to mind, and I don't doubt anything you're saying. I don't know anything about your finances, so I have no reason to question what you're saying. But the first thing would come to mind is, what has Trump done to alter your finances personally? What policies, what has he done to make it so that you're making a lot more money under him than Biden? Maybe it's the tariffs, maybe it's going back to big oil. It could be a host of things, but that would be the first question I would ask. Trump will blame Biden for today's economy. Meanwhile, we're supposed to be in a golden era. Laugh my, I will say this in regards to Trump blaming Biden. You cannot put a microphone in front of that man's face without him bringing up. I mean, today he was blaming Biden again. I talk to folks on the right. I always enjoy talking to MAGA, and I hear TDS all the damn time. Trump derangement syndrome. He lives rent-free in your head. You hear it in every conversation where Trump is being criticized. How could Trump talk about Biden at literally every exchange and not have some form of derangement syndrome? I mean, no matter what he's talking about or who he's talking to, inevitably Biden's name comes up with some kind of criticism to it. I don't know how that's not derangement syndrome. Maybe I can get MAGA on here to explain it, but I mean, he's been in office coming up on 8 months. I mean, at some point, You know, it's like the umbilical cord. You got to cut that and get up and walk and find your own food. I mean, like, Biden's gone now. The man's at home suffering prostate cancer, completely out of the limelight. And yet every day you're mentioning his name. Crack up, boom. Nothing will come down. The greatest wealth transfer in history happening now, says Gen X. Wow, that's frightening. We absolutely got a great president. We did get what we voted for, says Brian. And I hear that. I hear that often. I hear that often, that you get what you voted. That you have gotten what you voted for. I got opinions on that. We'll end up talking about that throughout the live. Let me go straight to the box. Stock market is the only thing up. Everything else is down and more expensive, says One Life. What is groceries like in your area, folks? Going straight to the box, we'll go to Joe Gonzalez, 4100. Good evening, Joe. Welcome to the program. So, Trump getting the Nobel Peace Prize, you think he may pull it off?
Depends on who you ask.
I'm asking, if we're going to speculate, 'cause we don't know, so I'm going to speculate by asking you. Do you think it's a chance he can get it?
If he could pull off the Ukraine-Russia thing, and I'm an independent. I'm not MAGA. I'm not left or right. I did vote for Trump this time, but I am an independent.
Okay.
If he could pull this off, I'd say he's at least eligible for it. Now, will he get it? I don't know, but I think that's a worthy thing to end a 3.5, 4-year war, I guess, depending on what Zelensky has to give up or not give up.
Now let me ask you, and I kind of have the same sentiment toward it as you did in that, but let me ask you this, because we're also funding the entire incursion that Israel's responsible for, and they're talking about taking all of the land from the Palestinians, and America's connected to that. That is us just as much as it is Zelensky, because Trump is on television saying we're going to take their country and turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East, and he clearly stated they cannot come back. So do you think with those quotes out there, and with Netanyahu actively trying to make that a reality, he still could get the Nobel Peace Prize solely based on what happens in Russia versus Ukraine?
No, the whole Gaza thing, that's the Palestinian people's place. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but we're in that. We fund 70% of the Israeli weapons, and they're not paying us back for that. We're charging Ukrainians money for what we're giving them. We're giving Israelis, who have a complete upper hand on that, we're giving them those weapons for free.
Honestly, I have to push back on that, because I actually think they pay for their weapons.
The Israelis?
Yes, I don't think it's a free ticket. I could be wrong. I mean, you might know more about this than I do, because I don't know everything, and anybody that claims to know everything's an idiot.
Fair enough.
I don't know everything.
Fair enough.
But I think they pay for their. They buy all their stuff from us, is what I mean. It's American technology. It is, but I think they pay for it.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I mean, if anybody in the chat could correct me, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'm a grown ass man. You know what I mean? I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Okay.
But
let me say it this way. If they're paying us for it, you notice you're not hearing Trump bragging about how much money he's getting out of them?
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. You don't hear nothing about it, but I don't think they're bitching about what America's asking them to pay for. They're just paying for it because they want to win.
Well, at this point, do you really see the Israelis fighting in Gaza to win?
Well, the government winning compared to the civilian winning is two different things.
What are they going to win? I mean, Gaza's completely rubble. No one on the Israeli side of that conflict has lost their life in weeks. So they're not taking any casualties. It's only the Israelis causing casualties. They're bombing rubble. I mean, what else are you trying to win? The only victory from this point on would have to be genocide. I mean, you're bombing zombies at this point. So the only victory is to kill the remaining zombies.
Yeah, but do you think they're honestly going to stop? And this is a question to you, honest opinion of yourself. Do you think they're going to stop, or their people want them to stop until they either get what living hostages there are, or they get all the bodies back before they stop anything?
Well, first of all, when you start halting food supplies from going into Gaza, when you got hostages there, it's clear you don't care about those hostages, because if the people are walking around emaciated and starving to death, then your hostages are probably facing the same fate. So you literally are starving your own people while claiming you care about them. So it's hard to imagine that Israel is concerned with the hostages at all. That would be the last thing you would do. I mean, that would be like you're coming into my house and taking me hostage, and the police are outside negotiating with you, and they stop food from coming into the house. They would have to realize I'm starving too. That is not helping the hostages out at all.
Well, now, this is all hearsay, what I've heard. Do you think Hamas is starving? Or are they starving their prisoners?
Yeah, I believe the reason why I say I believe Hamas is starving is because I don't care how afraid you are of me. Let's say Hamas has total control over the Palestinians and they're scared of Hamas. Well, once it gets to the point where you don't starve me and I don't lose 90 pounds, 100 pounds, I'm facing death, there's nothing left to be scared of you for. I would start telling people I'm not eating because this motherfucker's taking my food. And you don't hear anybody in Gaza blaming the Palestinians for them not eating. Nobody's doing that. They're all blaming it on Israel, even the ones that are close to death. You have nothing to lose at that point. If Hamas was taking the food, you would tell. And they're not doing it. They're all blaming Israel.
Well, didn't they just have so they had an envoy go to the food center there is it in Gaza or on the border of Israel? I don't know. It was on the news. Mm-hmm. They were visiting the drop-off area for the food aid, right?
Okay.
I think an American envoy went there, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And they're Israel, or whoever's bringing the food in, is giving it to the UN aid, right? Then the UN aid is distributing, or supposed to be distributing it to the Gazan citizens.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hearing is the group that is distributing the food to the Gaza citizens is an American Israeli controlled group. And they deliberately put the drop spots in the middle of the war zone. So a lot of the folks that are over there consider the food places where you go to seek aid as like a trap, because that's where a lot of the killing is happening at. So when they go seek food, they're getting slaughtered. So, and it's like I said, it's an American Israeli backed event. Here's my problem with it. The minute the Israelis blocked the traditional media from going in there and being able to film what was going on, that doesn't look right. I mean, when one side starts blocking anybody from filming what's taking place in a war zone, that looks like there's things going on that they don't want you to see. And Israel has done that from the very beginning. They've made it so that the media cannot go in there and film what is happening. So the only narrative you're hearing is what they're kind of telling you, which probably isn't an accurate narrative.
I see where you're coming from on it.
I mean, there should be media from Germany. There should be media from Europe. There should be media from Australia. All of them, like they went to Vietnam, like they went to Iraq. There should be media outlets allowed in there, and they're not even allowing the Red Cross in there. You've had people like Greta Van Susteren and some of them folks try to go over there with ships with food. They got turned around. They're not letting nobody in.
Greta Thunberg.
Not Greta. She's the one I just played. Yeah, she's the one I just played.
I've seen that. That did make the news because they were trying to sail in on a sailboat.
Yeah. Why would you block food? They're carrying food in there. Yeah. Why would you block them? Yeah. So go ahead.
Like that. They knew when they left, they were never going to make it. Because Israel was never going to allow that. You know what I mean? They were, let's be honest, they were never going to allow that because that is bad press.
No, the bad press. No, the bad press is not letting the food in there, which is exactly what Greta set out to do.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's go hypothetical. Say if that Greta Thunberg would have made it in there with her sailboat, you know, with the activist and all the food on there, all the food.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they'd have got the food. If all of them would have got kidnapped, held hostages by Hamas, you know, I'm not saying they're not there to help the Palestinian, the Gazan people, but say they were taken hostage by Hamas because they showed up there. Does that make the situation worse or better for Israel?
It don't make the situation worse or better for Israel at all. I mean, there are war correspondents that get killed or captured in war. As a reporter, you know you're going into an area like that. That's kind of what happens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so no. Here's what happens. Here's what happens. You tell Greta Thunberg, whatever her name is, you understand you're going into a war zone, trying to be a do-gooder. We don't have the authorization to come in and save you. If you go in there and something happens, you understand that's on you. Get her to sign it, get her to say it on television or whatever, and then it's on her, period. But to stop her when she is literally trying to go in there with food and claim that you're doing that to protect her best interest, when everybody is saying that people are starving, doesn't look right.
I understand what you're saying there, and you know, like I said before, you know, I come at this as an independent. You know, I'm trying to look at it at the middle center of the road. You know what I mean, left or right, either way.
Yeah. Now, how about this one? Now, one of my viewers on YouTube, W12 something says, the Israeli government gives tax incentives and grants to people who settle land in the West Bank. So, in other words, they're rewarding their own citizens financially for incurring on Palestinian land. So if you're willing to go in this area, which is kind of a dangerous area, kind of like during the gold rush when the Native Americans still occupied the Wild West, if you're willing to go out there, we'll give you land and stuff like that. So it's almost encouraging people to venture out and take Palestinian land. Have you heard anything like that?
Yeah, I have, and you know, I don't agree with that. It's like if you're coming to take my house, I'm already here.
Yeah.
Now, you might pull a weapon on me, but I'm not gonna stand there and take it. I don't expect anybody to stand there and take it like that. I don't. If you're gonna fight for all your heart, with all your heart. But there's gonna be winners and losers. Now, whether the losers or the winners are right or wrong, that's for history to decide. You know, in the long run.
Well, I will say this, even during World War II, when some of the worst atrocities in world history were committed, for the most part, the countries still maintained their land. Germany is still Germany. Japan is still Japan. We didn't take their whole fucking country from. You got several nation states now saying that they are recognizing the Palestinian state. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, a host of states, I believe the UK. So if they take the country,
Germany, well, had some liberal. Germany was taken.
No, it was occupied. It was occupied. It wasn't taken.
Well, it was separated, was it not?
Yeah, but they still
separated it. Half of it became Russia.
Right.
Half of it became Eastern and Eastern and Western Europe, Germany,
Yeah.
I believe, or
it was occupied. But it wasn't taken.
Yeah.
Hold on. You do understand that Trump and Netanyahu said they want the Palestinians to leave. Even Russia didn't do that to the Germans. They want them to leave.
I don't agree with them leaving their land. You see what I mean? I can meet in the middle there. Like I said, right is right, wrong is wrong. The Palestinian people, the war is war, but it's their land. It's Gaza is their land. I don't believe anybody ought to take it. But
So let me ask you though, if Trump ends the Ukraine-Russian war, do you think cooperating with Netanyahu in taking their land would stop him from getting the Nobel Peace Prize?
yes,
Yeah.
because I believe in a two-state solution. You know what I mean? And that was proposed. This isn't the first time it's been proposed. You know what I mean? I think it's what they've had it. Was it since 1948? The state of Israel, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
I believe so.
It's been proposed 2 or 3 times before, and the Palestinian government back then was it Yasser Arafat or not Yasser Arafat, but I can't remember. It was the PLO.
Yeah, Arafat I think came after that, but I remember Yasser Arafat. Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, back then it was proposed a 2-state solution, and back then, if I'm not mistaken, there was more land for Palestine or for Gaza, and they refused it. And that's history now. That's history.
Okay.
I believe that there should still be a 2-state solution, but it's been offered before and it's failed before, and I hope it could survive this time to where they could end the damn fighting.
Yeah, but do you see any now at this point, considering 100% of the fighting is coming from the Israelis? Do you see anything from Netanyahu that indicates they want to end the fighting? I mean, like I said, they're just bombing rubble. There are no attacks coming from the Palestinians at all.
I don't. If you want my honest opinion, I don't see an end to it until they give up the hostages or the hostages' bodies. That's the. You know, and it's brutal, it's honest, and it is what it is. But the families of those Israeli hostages and the bodies of them must be delivered back to their family.
You do realize the families of those hostages want the war. They want the Israelis to stop attacking because they realize that's not in the best interest of my loved one they're holding hostage. If you're bombing them indiscriminately while they're holding my son or daughter, you're giving them no incentive to keep my son or daughter alive or even feed them. I mean, you're killing thousands of Palestinians and expecting them to somehow do what's right by my son or daughter while they're hostage? I mean, not to mention, there's a good chance you may have bombed and killed them yourself. I mean, I think it said 90% of the structures in Gaza have been destroyed. What are the chances that some of the hostages may have been in some of those locations?
But, well, answer this though, Tim. There's no guarantee that they're even alive now.
I get all that, and I agree with you. The point I'm making is, though, what Israel is doing shows no desire to bring back hostages. I mean, you're bombing everything. Even the bodies may have been blown apart. You're bombing every structure in town.
You know, like tonight, just a little while ago, that I don't know if you just seen it on the news. It was maybe an hour ago, 2 hours ago. Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire and hostage deal.
I cannot imagine they're going to hand Israel back much. I would be surprised if they even know where all the hostages are. I mean, you don't have freedom of movement.
There's different fractions of terrorist cells in Gaza. You know what I mean? It's not just Hamas.
Yeah,
there were 4 or 5 terrorist cells in there that always fought against each other.
Yeah, I get all that, but I'm saying with 90% of the structures destroyed, almost just about all of the main leadership of Hamas has been killed. It's like, are we sure they even, you may end up getting the remaining Hamas leaders that go, I don't even know what this person is. The leader that took those folks and took them to whatever cell or holding facility, y'all killed them 6 months ago. I don't know where even put these people. It's not like we're free to move around the country. You're blowing everything up. If we're on the streets, you'll shoot us. I cannot imagine they're going to get those hostages back at all. I mean, they've been blowing that place up for, a year or more, just bombing it consistently. Not to mention they may be decomposed. I just can't imagine them getting anything back.
Well, no, and there's that possibility as well, handsome liberal. You know what I mean? There's so many possibilities, but nobody can answer 100% accurately right now. You know what I mean? All we can do, we can guess, we can speculate. You know what I mean? Because for one, you or I are not there on the ground.
But one thing you cannot speculate is, they ain't eating properly. Because if the citizens of the country ain't eating, they're not going to make sure the hostages are well fed when everybody else is walking around looking like zombies. So one thing that you don't need to speculate on at all is that wherever they are extremely hungry if they're alive still.
Oh, I say, they're going to starve the hostages, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a hostage. You're not a guest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've shared videos on here that were shared out of Gaza of food trucks going by that Hamas has hijacked. It's stuff I've reshared and reposted on my page. And they're shooting guns up in the air. There's civilians sitting there trying to get to the food trucks, and they're driving right by because they're hijacking the food. I mean, you can look on my page. They've been reposted and shared and everything like that.
Yeah, I'd have to see it because I have a. Go ahead.
And that was shared from people in Gaza by people video and sharing and reposting and everything like that in Gaza, on the streets of Gaza.
Yeah, I'd have to see it because I'll tell you this: if Gaza is stealing the food and they're eating, then you should be able to clearly tell who Gaza is because there'll be those guys walking around that you don't see all their bones and they're not emaciated. They should stand out like a sore thumb considering how long the other people are starving. If you don't see Palestinians walking around looking like they've been well fed, that ain't true. I mean, that's to be the first sign is that if they're stealing, because remember, there's millions of people there, or hundreds of thousands of people. If they're dropping in enough food to feed the people, and this much smaller faction are taking the food, then they should be well fed. They should stand out like a sore thumb.
Can I address this real quick in your comments to Debo real quick?
Sure.
Are you sure your guest isn't MAGA? No, I'm not MAGA. I don't own a hat like Tim in the background owns a hat. I don't own a flag. I don't own no merchandise. I am an independent.
Now you voted for Trump in 2024. Who'd you vote for in 2020? Biden against Trump.
I did not vote, and I didn't vote for Trump's first presidency, but I did vote for Obama.
Why didn't you vote for Trump neither one of the first two times?
Well, the first time I didn't like Trump or Hillary.
Okay.
The second time, I was just tired of all of it. I took a break from politics.
And what encouraged you to get in the third time?
Third time I got into it because of the shit Biden was doing. Or not doing, the lack of. I mean, honestly, the border got me back into it because I'm in a southern state close to the border. I won't mention where, but it just, all of that got me back in. I was out of it. Like I said, I voted for Obama twice. I voted for Bill.
I gotta move it on, but I'm thinking that during the handling of the pandemic, that was not enough to make you get in it, but the border. I mean, because the pandemic, listen, a lot of folks believe the pandemic was handled miserably, and a lot of Americans lost their lives during the pandemic. And that didn't get you in it for the 2020 election, but the border got you in it for the 2024 election.
No, I'll tell you what I was doing during the pandemic. I was considered an essential worker. I was working, minding my business, watching for my family and mine, and that was it. You
didn't have people dying around you?
I knew one person that died, but they were an older person that already had cancer.
So in your town, yeah. So in your town, in your area, not a lot of people were dying.
No, not compared to major cities. No.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I gotta move it on, Joe. First time talking.
Yeah, but I've been following you for like 2 years, man.
Wow, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, like I said, I like it because you call it like it is, no matter if it's left or right, and you're honest. It is what it is, and that's what I appreciate about you.
That's better than what I get from most folks. I appreciate that, absolutely. I got to move it on, Joe. Doors always open to you.
All righty. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me up, man.
Thank you as well. Tap the screen, by the way. I have not asked that, but tap the screen. Get the likes on up to 20,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. I'm sure you've heard that before. In addition to that, I'm going to ask that if you have Facebook, you'll see scrolling behind me on lives. We're getting real close. I need to get about another 20 folks to follow Tim Liberals on Facebook, because that's going to be our next Our next platform, we're going to be doing the live shows on Facebook as well. So if I can get about 20, 25 of you folks to go over to Tim Liberals on Facebook, simply click follow, and then you can come back here and we can talk shit as normal. But I need a few more people to follow that Facebook page, Tim Liberals with an S. Just simply follow it. Come on back, we can talk shit. So looking in the comments, and by the way, like I said, tap the screen. If you're watching on YouTube and you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, where nobody is being blocked, banned, or censored because they have a difference of opinion, or they're being critical of anybody on the program, up to and including the host. You can criticize the host on this program. That's what free speech is all about. If you enjoy that, feel free to follow us. If you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, give us a subscription if you're watching on YouTube. The Israeli, I saw that comment. One other comment I wanted to make sure I did not miss out on. Says, you both should watch The Settlers and listen to these people talk about the Palestinians and how they talk about us. They are not our allies. I don't believe the Palestinians are our allies. I agree with that. I don't believe the Palestinians like Western culture, Christian religion, or capitalism. I don't think they like any of that shit. But does that mean we should just let them get slaughtered? I'll leave it at that, because keep in mind, Israeli is an ally. Israeli is a NATO member nation. If the Israelis fuck up in that region and suddenly all of those nations are coming down on them, we got to go to war to protect them. So just because you don't like the Palestinians, or better yet, they don't like us, I get that. You know, all of these Democrats are pro-Palestinian, knowing damn well the Palestinians would not like anything about the Democratic Party, from women should have equal rights to the LGBTQ community. I get it. The Palestinians would not like what most Democrats stand for. That does not fall on deaf ears. However, as I just said, if you ignore their plight and let Israel have their way and let Israel run wild in the Middle East, eventually we're going to have to go over there and save their ass, because they're going to start creating more and more enemies. So just because you don't give a damn about the people they're doing something with, understand it could grow. So you can't let them just run wild. That's the point I'm making. And as you see right now, most of the NATO member states are starting to be really critical of Israel. Even our allies are now saying Israel's going way too far. But the United States is like, hey, so be it. They started a war on October 7th, 3 years ago. Let Israel run them completely off the face of the earth. Anyway, looking in the comments, did you forget they were attacked? No, I didn't forget they were attacked. But damn, look, if I come punch you in the face, at what point can we say that you've gotten even? I mean, okay, you've hit me in the face, you've kicked me in the head, you've pistol whipped me a couple of times, and now you're in the kitchen sharpening up knives. At what point have you gotten even? There's no return fire at this point. There has not been any return fire probably in damn near a year. At some point, what happened on October 7th is not relevant anymore. I mean, what are you going to be bringing up October 7th 8 years from now? Well, 8 years ago they did attack us. At some point, it's not relevant anymore. They've went way beyond. What did they lose, 1,000 some odd people on October 7th, 1,300, I think, or something like that? They're getting, I believe they're probably around 100,000 deaths now. I mean, they've literally made the whole nation homeless. At some point, because the citizens of Gaza, they're not all Hamas. You're killing kids and women and shit, babies. They have nothing to do with Hamas. So the amount of innocent casualties that the Israelis have taken out in the pursuit of Hamas is insane. It isn't. I mean, you're talking about tens of thousands of innocent casualties. People who were not even born when October 7th happened 3 years ago have been killed for that. They weren't even around yet. You're killing toddlers and shit like that. At what point have you gotten even? It's not a license to just attack indefinitely. Anyway, looking in the comments, have you heard kids pay for the sins of their parents? Yeah, and I don't defend that. I don't ever defend kids paying for the sins of their parents. Certainly not intentional. What are you trying to say? That it's okay to take out the children because of what the parents did? And by the way, what happened on October 7th featured what amounts to a handful of Hamas. occupied by tens of thousands of Hamas. It's a handful of people. So even if you say that the kids are paying for the sins of the parents, it's only a handful of parents. I mean, it wasn't that many of them that went in the country. Otherwise, they would have did a lot more damage. Anyway, going back to the box in the comments here, better yet, tap the screen. Trump and his father would have put a C for colored next to your name if you were renting from them back in the day. You know that, right? I don't know what that's got to do with the program other than I guess you see the MAGA hat and you want to let me know that, I guess you think I'm defending Trump or something and you want to suggest that why would you do that when the guy would have never rented an apartment to you? I don't totally agree with that, by the way. I believe that Trump is also an opportunist. I think if a person of color showed up with enough money, like let's say Don King back during his heyday when he was promoting fighters and he was obviously worth millions of dollars, I think Trump would have rented to him. I don't think he would have put a C next to his name. So, look, I get where you're going with it. I'm not totally disagreeing with what you're trying to say, but he is an opportunist. He'll take money no matter who it's coming from. A Jew in the Hamas area would be killed today. Okay, that's possible, but that ain't happening. You can't, but this isn't the Minority Report. You can't go around and take out people in the Palestinian territory because of what they quote unquote would do. I mean, Americans would probably not be safe in Yemen right now. Might not be safe in Iran right. You can't use that as a justification to go over there and blow the country up because we think if an American was there, you wouldn't be right by him. They're not doing that though. There is no Jew in Palestine right now. Let me go back to the box. If the box comes up, we'll continue on with Dogos. Good evening, Dogos. He was sued successfully for, I'm agreeing with you, it happened. They were not renting the people of color. That absolutely happened, and he was sued for it. You are correct. Dogos, good evening.
Yo, good evening.
I'm doing. Am I pronouncing that right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah, you can call me Damien, though. Yeah, it's Dongos.
Dongos, okay, Dongos.
It's Dongos, but you can call me Damien.
Damien, okay, fair enough. So.
And I forgot oh, yeah, you're good, my bad.
Okay. What am I getting anything wrong on this? What am I getting wrong?
Could you say that again for me?
I said, what am I getting wrong?
No, the name was fine. I interrupted you. You were about to say something to me.
Okay, I was going to say Trump potentially getting the Nobel Peace Prize. Do you see it possibly happening? Apparently not.
You can't talk the way you talk to people like that and expect anyone to think that you're someone who supports open peace.
Wow.
The way that he just disregarded an entire... No, let me step back. The way that you can easily talk to someone and degrade a whole country and just completely split, no, I go too vague, right? Because I'm young, I can go off the rails, but it's real. If I go into a job and I would have just started lying or slandering or just attacking anyone in a country where I lead people, not even a country, just my own job, that's instant accountability, instant need to make that clear. And we've seen months of just a man who has said whatever he wants, and now it's just clear that he doesn't see a difference from that. So now we've got people behind him. We've got a whole administration that has no clear grounds to really take it to be on a clear common ground.
Yeah.
I can think in any way possible, and I could still think objective information exists. I'll kind of stop myself right there.
Yeah, hearing you say that, it does make me think of something else. Now, I mentioned the Palestinian-Gaza conflict could prohibit Trump from receiving a Nobel Peace Prize even if he ends the Ukraine-Russia war. But also, the way things are going in this country with immigrants could cause a problem, too. Certainly when you're talking about deporting immigrants to countries that they have no ties to, don't even speak the language. I think we're trying to get access to deport people to Rwanda. So if you take somebody that came to America, so that could absolutely cause a problem.
We think about how immigrants have been, because it's not like immigrants were just not deported. It's not like immigrants are all illegal. You can't even be illegal and a legal immigrant until 4 years after you're an illegal immigrant in the United States.
Wait, what are you talking about? Say that. Explain that. What are you talking about?
Before you're a fully legal immigrant, there are 4 stages of immigration you have to go through.
Okay.
It's a whole lot of paperwork and a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And it goes into visas and stuff like that. I'm an American. I'm from North Georgia, so I myself am not educated with it. But we all know now that there is no clear, full background checking or care put into how people are being taken off the streets. And DC is a really clear example of this. I have been seeing so many people just being harassed. Not just harassed, just arrested. I've been seeing so many people pulling their phones out and videotaping themselves in these police, seeing 4 or 5 police cars go down the street. Because it's real.
I haven't seen,
on Washington.
Yeah, hearing you say that. Now, I'm not in the camp to deny that is likely going to happen with so many cops in one area, but I haven't seen it like you're saying. I have not seen.
Not like they're going after, right? But it's like definitely after saying they're allowed to do what they want, and we need to crack down on homelessness specifically. That's a good chunk of this country. Our country is built off of our lower people. I am in one of those lower places. I'm just lucky I got food stamps and shit. I'm lucky I was born with my grandparents.
Wow.
And that's just me. I'm thinking about the people under my people. It's the same thing with Gaza and Ukraine. No matter who's in Palestine, no matter who's in Ukraine, they're absolutely those people that you were saying, those children, those kids, that handful of people that you can associate. You can't generalize a whole country I'm going by.
Yeah. How do you respond to folks who might suggest that when it comes to the border and even maybe crime, we wouldn't be dealing with this if Biden had done a poor job during his time? In other words, Trump wouldn't be dealing with all these immigrants if it wasn't for Biden just, leaving the border wide open. Did you drop there, Dongos? Okay, apparently he dropped. I think he had a call or something. He said, I'm going by or something. He's not there. Okay, we'll move it on. Dongos, you're always welcome back. Oh, damn, the lawsuit. What are you talking about there, King Mo, in the comments? A jaw in the Hamas would be a Jew. Okay, I saw that already. Yeah, I don't, bringing up that a Jewish person in the Hamas would be killed today, it's not relevant. I mean, there's somebody from every country on the planet that would probably not be safe in a different country. That's not an excuse to go around attacking people. Handsome, stop with the Biden bullshit, says Duke. Well, there's a lot of people who believe Biden did not do a good job as president. So it's not bullshit. Keep in mind, Biden got you Trump. Just understand that. If the American voting public thought Biden was doing a really great job, you would probably had a much lesser chance for Trump winning. Trump won because people believed that Biden wasn't doing a good job. So how can you say stop with the Biden bullshit? Biden is the reason why you got Trump. More believe Trump did do a good job, says Duke. We'll leave it at that. Stop skipping my comments. Let me just say something real quick. Let me put on my spectacles so I can see who said that. Frank Mead. Let me make something clear, folks. This is an uncensored program. When I say we're MAGA friendly, when I say we don't block, ban, or censor, MAGA are my preferred guests. But understand, we're currently on Instagram, we're currently on TikTok, and we're currently on YouTube, and multiple feeds, by the way. And every one of my cameras has comments flying all over it. And they're all basic white lettering. So your comment doesn't look any different than the next person. There's no way I can read every comment coming in and try to have an entertaining conversation with the guests and stick on something. It's just no way one guy can do that. I am a one-man fucking band, and I'm not even putting out good albums. So I do want to make it clear to you, I'm not, not skipping anybody's comment. I'll read the comment even if it's critical of me. You know how the program runs, but if you want your comment to be read, I'm going to go ahead and solicit right now and say, donate to the fucking program because it changes your comment to a different color and it makes it stand out. Okay, if it's 99 cents, donate behind your comment. I read all of those because it changes the whole screen color. It changes the color of my screen and forces me to see it. But a basic comment, it looks like everybody else. I'm staring right now as I speak to you at probably 70 comments and they're all moving. So it is what it is. Anyway, let me continue on with the program. If that were true, Biden would have released that first day in office. I know what you're talking about. I'll go to the bots real quick just to respond to that. 'Cause that's Epstein-related responses. You know, if Trump was on the Epstein list, you know, with him being Biden's, you know, primary enemy, Biden would have released it because Biden didn't want Trump to become president. So if Trump was on the Epstein list, Biden would have for surely released it. Well, there's two pushbacks on that. First of all, they're claiming the list was sealed under President Biden. I don't know that or not, but I will tell you this. I think everybody can agree that Bill Clinton is on the Epstein list, or certainly on the flight list, dozens of times. Bill Clinton is on the flight list dozens of times, and he is an arch enemy of President Trump. So if Biden would release the list because his enemy is on it, then that should also apply to Trump. His enemy is on the damn list too. Talking about Bill Clinton. He ain't releasing it. He's telling you to stop talking about it. So the whole notion that you would release the list if your enemy is on it, that whole theory is blown out of the water by what President Trump is doing. Because I think everybody knows his enemy is on the list and he don't even want you talking about the shit. So that doesn't work well, but I appreciate the effort. MAGA cannot comprehend logic, says Duke. All right now, Duke. A Jewish person can go into, I don't know, do people realize how foolish they are when they go after somebody personally saying horse shit like zipper up his pants when people are typing in the war? I don't think people care. I'll go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to 30,000. You know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Ecstasy, is that what I'm looking at? 7-7. Good evening, welcome to the program. I voted for Trump. I still want the Epstein list. I don't think you're going to get that. I think Trump's going to give you everything else you want, and you'll walk away saying, all right, I didn't get the Epstein list, but I'm still happy. I got most of the stuff I voted for. I think that's the goal of President Trump, is to flood the zone, and I'll give them 90% of what they want, and they'll be okay without getting the remaining 10. Is that Ecstasy? Is that the name there?
East Side, man. East Side Bass. East Side 45. You remember me?
East Side 45 sounds a whole lot better than Nixie. All right, my eyes are not seeing it as well, but I do remember you now.
Okay, that's what's up.
We talk about a Nobel Peace Prize for the current commander-in-chief. What say you?
Yeah, I say no. I say no.
But you got to give him credit. He is trying harder than any damn body else to end that Russia-Ukraine war, right?
I believe he's trying to. I believe he's trying to make it look like he's trying. Does that make sense?
No, because he's actually met with these guys over and over. I mean, he's had Zelensky to the White House twice. He's actually had Putin. I mean, he's meeting with the people.
First time he insulted him to death. First time he insulted the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but he did invite him over there, though. He wanted them to bow down. And think about this. Zelensky actually wore a suit today. God damn it.
All right. Why would he? Why would he? Right? Do you want an episode of the first time? Of course not. So let me go out and wear a suit, and let's see if we can be cordial.
I don't even know why that was.
Same thing.
I don't even know why they made a big deal about that. To me,
I don't either.
Yeah, this guy's at war. This guy got a lot more shit to worry about.
He got time to worry about.
Yeah.
But even though they show where he was in magazines, he's in certain places during this time of war. I get it, but at the same time, if he's coming there, that's not the thing to talk about. It's his wardrobe.
Right.
So that's why I say he's trying to make it look like he's trying, because I've been seeing stuff where Putin is like, look, I ain't studying nothing Trump's talking about for real. But what he's talking about is what he's talking about over there. I'm going to do what I'm doing over here. And that's what I've been seeing.
But what about the whole notion that Trump showed a projection of strength. You know, Putin comes over, even though the red carpet's out. You got F-22s, you got bombers flying above. People suggested that showed that Trump was trying to, you know, deliver a projection of strength, I guess, to intimidate Putin or something.
I don't think it. If that, I think he's used to that, right? He
Right.
would, you know. You know, okay, you show yours, I'll show mine. You come over here, you know,
Right,
I'll show mine.
right.
You know, it's not like he would think like, okay, wow, look at this. Oh, we've never seen this before. You know,
Right.
He's built his own. He's got brand new aircraft carriers that he's built. You know, had built. So he's, you know, it's like, okay, that's nice. You know, it's a parade, I guess. You look at it, you know, like a parade, a military parade, more than anything, I would think.
So you don't see the meeting between Putin and Trump as something that Trump won and he made Putin stand down or any of that?
No. Putin's going to do what he wants to do at this point. You know, just like Netanyahu is going to do what he wants to do. Bondi, he's going to let Bondi, as long as she's being his lapdog, she's going to do what she wants to do. And the thing of it is, though, it's like, here's the big picture.
I disagree with part of that, but keep going.
Okay. You dealing with, you know, Trump's not the smartest in the world, right? But
None of us are.
You know, right. But he's the president and he's not the smartest. That's a, you know, bad combination. And one thing I think he understands is might makes right. And when he looks at a bunch of people that all they do is talk,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got the stick in his hand and he's ready to swing it, it hits different. You're like, not saying you personally. What I'm saying is I'm coming to fight, but you want to tell me about how it's wrong for me to fight. I don't care. I don't care. Like, if you feel that this way, if this is wrong or that's wrong, he's just swinging the stick. While you're talking, he's swinging. And I think that's why you're looking at the way people look at the Democrats now. Everybody's looking at the Democrats because, look, they look weak. Because all you're doing is having your talk like you want to show your education, right?
Okay.
You want to show how the big words you can use and how his IQ. But, okay, at the end of the day, when I say that Washington, D.C. is going to be locked down and we're going to have 800 National Guard soldiers, who's standing up and saying, no, we're not? Move out.
I mean, what can you really do other than, I mean, the only way you're going to stop those soldiers from going into D.C.
Okay, how about this? Let's take that. Let's think about that. That's not new to America. In American history, we've seen that before. We've seen when the British said, no, you can't have weapons. No, you can't do this. What did they do? They said, the fuck, we can't.
Yeah, but most of the country that voted for Trump, and they want those soldiers in D.C.
No, they want certain people to be done certain ways.
Elaborate. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, they feel, well, when look at the farmers that voted for Trump, right? But they didn't think that their land was going to get taken. They thought everybody else.
Okay.
You got the Latinos that voted for Trump. Well, they didn't think they were going to get sent off. They didn't know that their passes were going to get revoked.
No.
But it happened to them. That's where he's like. That's why I say he swings the stick. He's not worried about. He never once said, hey, to my Cuban people down there that I know y'all wouldn't made a song for me. I voted for Donald Trump. Y'all did all that for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm revoking 600,000. What was it, 600,000 of y'all's passes?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The TPS conversion. Yeah.
He got what he wanted.
Yeah.
He got what he wanted, and you're gonna pay. Bye. And this is my last term anyway, unless I overthrow the government.
Do you think it is his last term?
Yeah, if he decides to, and people don't follow him overthrowing the government, yeah, it'll be his last term.
Let me ask it to you this way: if there was a proposal to allow Trump to run a third term, do you think Congress, the way it is now, being predominantly Republican, do you think they would support it? And of course, MAGA are also voters just like everybody else. Do you think MAGA would be okay with changing the Constitution to allow him an additional term?
No, because I think they know. Because then the fear would be that Obama could run, right? Michelle might run, and I think even like Stephen Miller and them know that the country's not hateful enough that they would sway with something like that. So
are you for certain? Are you absolutely for certain right now, with the amount of love and adoration that Trump has, at least from MAGA, that Obama could beat him? Are you, hold on, are you for certain that if Obama ran again, he could beat Trump?
Yes, yeah, because what would happen is, like, I believe that a lot of the people that even were, that are, say, like the independents or people like myself that straggle on the fence because of certain ideologies, right, that the Democrats have.
Okay.
Obama would put a lot of that to rest, and people was like, you know what, I think everybody loved Obama, right? And I think
that ain't true. That's not true.
I'm not saying everybody, not every single human being in America, but a lot of people did, and a lot.
Yeah, he was liked by a lot of people. Yes, that's true.
And it goes back to those that feel that, the pen is mightier than the sword, right?
I see in the comments
there's going to be a lot of those.
Yeah, I see in the comments Danny Henson immediately said I didn't like him. But also too, let me ask you this. Considering the amount of chaos and things like that comes with an election and the stress, do you think Obama would be willing to run again? I mean, he's pretty much got infinite money. He's free to do whatever he wants right off into the sunset with generational wealth. Do you think he would want to put him, his wife, and his family back into what could be a dangerous spotlight again?
I think him being the constitutional person that he is, I think he knows at this point it would be his duty to run again due to the state that the current nation is in. I do feel that. I think, he would know that this is what, as an American citizen, this is, if you did it once, this is the time that you need to do it again.
Wow. I will say that I think that Michelle Obama, had she run in 2020 or 2024, she would have been incredibly competitive. And she didn't take the offer.
Competitive.
Yeah. I think she...
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and this is what upsets me, is we had the first black president. Other than the like Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, we haven't seen no black man step back up. They keep wanting to throw the women out there. I don't think that's a good move.
You want Tim Scott to run for president?
He was trying to.
Would you vote for him? Would you vote for him?
Of course not. No, I would not. He's Sambo. I don't do that. I don't deal with them. Not at all. I'm in Kentucky, bro. I'm in Kentucky. I got Daniel Cameron. Tim Scott, Daniel Cameron, same mix of beans. You know what I'm saying? Same mix of beans.
All right.
But what I'm saying is that, first, America's not ready. I just don't think they really want a woman as president right now.
Wow.
I don't think. It's not. You just gotta first. Let's get the people. Let's see if we can get another black man in there, right? So that would be different.
Well, let me just say this in regards to your claim that America doesn't want another woman in there. You got nobody to blame but them damn liberals. They talk about the right being racist and sexist, but fact is, if the liberals had a guy behind Hillary Clinton she had the votes. She had the votes. Some of them went with Bernie Sanders, and some of them got pissed off and even went with Trump. But she had the votes. Hillary Clinton had the votes. If the liberals had gotten behind her, she should have been the first woman president.
Right, and that's the kicker. That's the kicker, though. Not even the liberals are getting behind that idea. Yep. And you see what I'm saying? You just said it. Had they? But they're not even really getting behind a woman being president for real. It sounds good. It's motivational. It gets what they say? It's provocative. It gets you going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it does all of that. But at the end of the day, it's not happening because you've got a mind state of America where it's a man's job, right?
It's a man's world.
And some things we're not ready, we're not there yet. But I'm more disappointed being a black man as myself. I'm disappointed that where is the other black men that stepped up and said, "Hey, let me get this." That's where I'm disappointed.
I'm going to tell you.
Obama.
Go ahead. No, I'm going to tell you, I do got to move it on, but in my opinion, right now, because America has moved to the right, America has shifted right. In my opinion, the best chance for a candidate going forward, that the Democrats would have to put up, it needs to be a straight white Christian male. Democrat-wise, I don't. If you put up anything else that's not a straight white Christian male as a Democrat, the country's too far to the right now to entertain anything else. I just don't see. On the Democrat side, I don't see it. But I'll give you the last word. I got to move it on.
Last words, man. I think last words is, man, at some point, as American citizens, we just got to go back and read the history books. What we're seeing is what we already saw. There's one way to deal with it, and you just got to be ready to deal with things when they are right there in your face. You can't be so educated that you don't know what to do when the house is on fire. The house is burning, you know what to do. And I just feel, a lot of people, it's this whole, you're dealing with a wolf. He's a dog, and you want to be the civilized. You're not going to win at this point, because in this world, it's what we've seen in Israel, it's what we've seen in Ukraine. The might makes right. Until you can fix that, might makes right.
All right. Appreciate it, Eastside.
It's love, y'all.
Always.
Right.
Thank you. Moving on with the program, by the way, tap the screen, get us on up to 35,000. In addition to talking about this Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize thing, I do want to go back to one of the earlier topics. A lot of new folks have come in. The live is already shifting on this axis. People come in, people go out. I mentioned earlier, and I know this is where the MAGA side of the audience is not gonna like me, but it's part of what we're discussing today, because we have three topics as always. Now, I mentioned earlier that President Obama met with Chris Christie, Governor Chris Christie at the time of New Jersey, during the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. Obama approved federal FEMA funding for all of the victims of Hurricane Sandy, and the right tore him a new one. They did not like the fact that Chris Christie was hugging Obama on camera and doing what was perceived as fraternizing with the enemy. You see, this was a really popular photo back during that time. That's Obama and Chris Christie in front of what looks like Marine One. I think that's Marine One they're in front of. So it became a popular photo, and the right did not like it. You're fraternizing with the enemy being President Obama at the time. And I asked on this program, today we're asking the question of, with Obama being perceived as the enemy, this is a clip from that time on Fox News.
So I'll go off the record. You heard me apologize to Governor Christie for my loose use of the term hug. Now here's the picture of the day I was talking about. It was taken October 31st, 2012. And this is the important date because it was only 6 days before the November 2012 election, and many Republicans have been unhappy with Governor Christie for his greeting that day of President Obama, who then went on to trounce Governor Romney in the election. Now, after looking at the picture and the video, I concluded there was no hug. That was Governor Christie extending his hand to greet the president, and the president arrived in New Jersey to check out the damage just 3 days after Hurricane Sandy had slammed the state. I see a handshake, and the president putting his hand on...
Now, you hear her talking back in that time. She's making it clear she had criticized criticized Chris Christie herself, now apologizing and saying, no, it actually wasn't a hug. Who gives a damn? If he is approving FEMA funding for victims of a hurricane in his state, what's wrong with Chris Christie giving a man a hug? Well, because Obama was perceived as the enemy at the time. So a lot of folks on the right did not like Chris Christie, who was in good standing with the Republican Party back then. They didn't like the fact that he was doing what they perceived as fraternizing with the enemy. by shaking hands and giving Obama a hug. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this old story up is I'm going to ask you, what's the difference between that and the picture you see on my screen right now? What's the difference between Chris Christie fraternizing with the enemy and Trump here giving a handshake while they're both, I mean, both of these men are gleefully smiling. You can see both of their teeth clearly. Trump is smiling so much you can see his bottom row of teeth as well as his top row of teeth. I mean, look at the smile in that man's face. Goddamn. So what is the difference between, Chris Christie fraternizing with the enemy and Trump fraternizing with the enemy? I want to hear from you folks. In addition to that photo you just saw there, then there's obviously this photo here, which to me is even more significant. That is Vladimir Putin riding in the beast, riding in a presidential limo, probably the most confidential car on American soil. I don't know what secrets he can see in that car, but I'm sure he's got his hand up against the panel and shit like, damn, this car is about 8 inches thick. What kind of bomb would it take to blow this motherfucker up? I mean, you got to think that Putin is sitting in that car thinking about that, the logistics of this car. Maybe this ain't tough as it is. He gets out, he pushes his hand against the window. Like, how hard would it be to blow this out? I mean, is he giving logistics away by putting the enemy inside the beast? So I'm asking the question of, what is the difference between Trump clearly fraternizing with the enemy here and Chris Christie doing it? And I see in the comments, Chris says you cannot compare the two scenarios. I would like to know why not. I would like, if fraternizing with the enemy is wrong, why can't you compare them? I would like to know why not. Let me know in the comments. It's called diplomacy. Okay, why wasn't it called diplomacy when Chris Christie did it? I'm trying to figure out why is what Chris Christie did wrong and what Trump is doing right. Trump is trying to end a war and save potentially millions of lives. Chris Christie was trying to get hurricane victims that were homeless, some had lost their lives. He was trying to get them relief. What is the difference? Everybody's saying there's a difference, but they're not saying what it is. What is the difference? Why is it okay for Trump to fraternize with the enemy? And by the way, the people that Trump are trying to help are not even Americans. The people that Chris Christie was trying to help were American citizens. I want to know what the difference is. I want to know what the difference is. Now, in the comments, before we continue on, Tim O'Tail says he's not the president. So it's okay for the president to fraternize with the enemy, but not a governor. And by the way, the enemy in Chris Christie's case was the president of the United States, not some foreign dictator. I'm trying to see how this makes sense. I need a call up to help me understand this because I'm not getting it. And I see in the comments, Gorilla Nuts, I love the name Gorilla Nuts, says, Tim, try to understand it's called diplomacy. Why is what Chris Christie did not called diplomacy? He was trying to get more federal funding from FEMA for victims of Hurricane Sandy. Why is what he was doing with Obama not diplomacy? Can somebody explain that? If you're going to call it diplomacy, why was that not diplomacy? Obama went to New Jersey to speak to Chris Christie, and Chris Christie is telling what they need and hoping to get Obama to approve it. How is that not diplomacy? Somebody help me out. I'm reading the comments. I'm still not getting an answer that I feel is clear. Going back to the box, Gangsta Grandma. Now, Gangsta Grandma, I know you think I'm getting something wrong as usual. Good evening.
You're just too damn special, I swear to God.
Thank you.
You're drinking so much of that damn protein, it makes me sick.
In what way, fashion, or form?
Well, let me tell you something, okay? The only reason why we have a lot of maggots, you know what I mean? We have a lot of racism in this damn country. We really do. A black man shook a white man's hand. Obama, if Obama did anything, the fucking maggots would be goes by fucking polar. You feel what I'm saying? Anything that black man did, oh my God. Well, no. Bring a war criminal to the United States, shake their hand and shit. Oh my God, he's trying to be peace. No, bitch, he's sucking on a white man's dick. Let's keep it a buck.
So what you're saying is that
right there, that's his old bitch right there, and that's right there. That's the shit that you be drinking. You're goggling right there.
No, I'm hearing it. I'm picking up. I'm shoveling what you're putting out. So what you're saying basically is that the main reason that Obama was an enemy is because he was a black man.
Oh no shit, Sherlock.
I'm just trying to get clarity.
Well, why do you need clarity when your ass is black your damn self? Damn, see how dumb. I swear, guys, I can't stand some of you fucking libs. You guys get on my fucking nerves. You're like, you know what I mean? You got the far left that fucked your Palestine over. You know what? I don't give a fuck.
Wait a minute.
They didn't want to vote. They didn't want to vote for a black woman that said she wanted she wanted a ceasefire. She wanted a two-party state and shit, and give the land back. Oh no, the far left white libs. Oh no, free Palestine. Don't vote for the black woman.
But wait a minute. Are you saying that MAGA would because you mentioned Obama because he's black his enemy? Are you saying that MAGA would view any black man in power as the enemy?
Fuck yeah, because he's a black man. What the fuck you think? Why do you think they gave that man so much hate? Why do you think they gave that man so much hate? But they're giving Trump, yes, master. Why do you think that is?
Well, I believe it is because they thought that Obama was destroying the country and leading us in the wrong direction.
I think, you know what, let me tell you something. This is how dumb the maggots are. That's why he likes the uneducated. The one that's destroying this country is the white man that you're drinking his uncooked protein. He's destroying this damn country. Every time a Republican gets into office, we're going into a recession and shit. We always do. You get a Democrat in office, the everything goes up. Oh my God, the eggs are so expensive. The milk. Oh my God, I have to count the cheese to feed my kids. That's what the white people were saying. They don't tell me that shit. But guess what now, bitches? Whole food prices are going up, Pookies and Ray-Rays and you dumb fucks. So, and you're going to see it in the next couple of weeks, dum-dums.
So because folks are saying the economy's doing good under Trump. I got a viewer that says he's making more money under Trump than ever before.
You know what? You know what? He's delusional. That motherfucker is delusional. That white man loves his uncooked protein. Yes, ma'am. You know, I can't even stand master. He likes his uncooked protein. He drinks his damn self.
Why do you keep
salmonella?
Why do you keep saying white man when there's a hell of a lot of Hispanics and blacks that voted for Trump?
I tell them the exact same shit. They house ninjas. They like it like that. They like, yes, master. They like the whips. They like a cha-ching like that. They like it like that. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What do you mean they like the whips?
Yeah.
Trump ain't whipping nobody.
Let me tell you, Trump, you were chasing about the black maggots and the Hispanic maggots, okay? I go harder on them than I do with the white tea ones. Because the white tea ones, I knew they were going to do it because that's all they know. They want the racism and shit. You feel what I'm saying? They want that shit. They like it like that. But the house ninjas, let me tell you motherfuckers this. You'll never be at his table. He doesn't want you at his table. You're never going to be there. All thing you thought that he was going to do is that you want to be white so fucking bad, you sold all of us fucking out. So fuck you, fuck your mammy, and every damn thing else. How about that?
That's a little mean. I mean, you do know he had dinner.
Yeah, you know what mean is? You know what mean is? That they didn't want to vote for a black woman that was more educated than this fucking Babylonian butt weasel that we have in fucking office right now. They didn't want to vote for her because she was a black woman. She wasn't black enough.
Wait.
One side, some of our black folks said, "Oh, she's not black."
Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute.
No, bitch. She was Jamaican.
Trump was an international billionaire, successful businessman that had a...
No, Ed, you know what? He's not no billionaire. But what the fuck? He's let me tell you, he's 6 bankruptcies. That makes him a billionaire. He got shit handed to him by his daddy.
You really... Wait. You really... You really believe after Trump's first term, which many view was successful, that Kamala Harris was more qualified?
Tim, how is that protein tasting? How is it tasting?
I'm just asking a question.
For you? Is it though? Are you catching us? I'm probably sick right now because you're catching the fucking salmonella, listeria. Oh yeah, I forgot you're coming down with a cold, right? Well, guess what? The white man's cold got to you, huh?
What the hell?
Listeria and shit, aren't you?
What
So
the-
you're not
What is the Yes, I am coming down with a cold. What is the white man's cold?
what you got right now, honey. Because guess what? You on your knees. You're on your knees.
What the hell is that?
Yes, master.
There is no such thing, Gangsta Grandma, as the white man's cold. That doesn't.
Well, you got it, honey, because you on your knees and you're bobbing. You're going like balls deep. See, women. See, I love me some protein, but I like my chocolate protein. At least I don't get listeria. I don't get salmonella. I know where my protein comes from. You feel what I'm saying? You got like this shit. You get listeria, you get salmonella, and you know that you're a house ninja.
You make it sound like white people are diseased or something. Where are you going with
I
this?
said maggots, not all white people. The maggots got listeria.
I think you're making up stuff.
Oh, I'm making up shit?
Yeah, you
Our
making up.
economy's fucking going to hell. We have a racist Triple K in office. We have maggots cheering the shit on, thinking, oh, he's God. Then we have the black and brown ones. Oh my God, I'm gonna be sitting at his table. He's gonna be making so much money. He's gonna be making so much money. No, bitch. You're next.
But how do you respond? And I seen the comments. Tanaj says caller is keeping it real. Keeping it real how? She's making it sound like white people got diseases.
Why the fuck was he so successful in his first term? We was going into a recession with him. The unemployment rate when he left was 14%. What was it?
Well, first of all, under Trump's first term, until the pandemic, we had a really good economy under Trump.
Why, dumb? Why, dumb?
Because
Get off your knees. Why, dumb?
Why does he got? Is he got?
First 2 years, Obama, a black man. Obama.
Trump was running the country.
First 2 years was Obama.
Trump.
Thank you, Obama.
Trump was running the country, so that's his economy.
Trump was not. The economy was for Obama. Next bit.
I think you just are in a position where you're not going to get Trump credit no matter what.
Are you that? See, that's why you should be running a platform, Tim. You should not be running a fucking platform. If you know, you know. You know. First 2 years, dodo. You fucking, I can't. That listeria is really eating you. You might be getting syphilis. I'm some
What
kind
the
of shit.
fuck?
It's a fucking egg, you know.
Gangster, I'm dealing with the initial stages of a common cold. I don't have listeria or syphilis.
If this idiot did not, and I promise you did not, put tariffs on us or anything, we would be having it good first 2 years because it would have been Biden. Okay? Well, no, you know, the MAGA had to get in charge. And, oh, my God, the tariffs is going to save us. Oh, my God. No, bitch, it's not. They're going to put us in more debt.
What about the notion that the tariffs are going to end up bringing a bunch of money to America and create
It's our
jobs?
money. You fucking it. It's our fucking money. It's our fucking money. You bring it in, we have to pay for it. Like Whole Food, like the Whole Food, I have to pay for it because you got to get fucking office. I was paying good when Obama and Biden was in office. Our food wasn't in orbit like it's going to be right now.
The Trump administration, as one of my viewers is stating, that the tariffs are bringing in millions of dollars, or billions of dollars right now.
Money. Did you see how uneducated these fucking fleas are? Do you really see? Oh, he's bringing in the money. Get fucks. You fucking dum-dums. You special ed dropouts. It's our fucking money.
What if the tariffs lead lead to jobs and manufacturing coming back to America.
If that was the case, where the jobs at? We're losing jobs. We are losing jobs. He fired a lot of people. Our jobs are down. So let me tell you something. This is another stupid fucking idiot. This is never going to bring shit back. It's never coming back. Apple will not come back here like that. The damn Mercedes, whatever you want back forward, all of them, they're never coming back. It's cheaper to make out than it is to bring it here. You know what? I was on a white girl's live and she was very, what is it called? She was 24, she was white. She said, I'm a business owner. And you know what my business owner carries?
What?
American-made shit. I said, oh, for real? I said, for real, everything that you got in your shop is American-made. But I said, you know what, I'm trying to tell you this, little putty pop, little BBB. Guess what? It's not 100% married. It's not 100% made in the United States. Nothing is.
Okay, let me ask you this. Hold on. This comment is aimed at you, coming from No Reply on YouTube. He says, food is so cheap right now, it's insane. If you don't, hold on. Let me read the comment. You can take it how you wish. It says, food is so cheap right now, it's insane. If you don't love EBT and spend real money, everything is cheap as ever. So in other words, if you would get off of welfare and stop using your EBT card, you can save money on the food.
Yeah, I'm on welfare? Oh, shit.
That's what I'm reading.
You know what though? My EBT card bought me a Porsche 911 Ford GTS.
Damn.
That's what my EBT bought. And bitch can't afford the goddamn down payment, bitch. You can't afford the payments. Half you maggots can't even afford that.
Yeah.
No, the prices are not down. Do you know how much a pound of ground beef is? It's like $10 a pound.
Really?
Oh, yes.
So are you?
Yes.
But some folks are saying even though groceries are not cheap, they're still better than they were under Biden.
No, it's really not. No.
Okay, well let me ask you.
You know what's cheap? You know why it's cheap so-called now? Because it's all about racism. They didn't give a fuck about They didn't give a fuck about the cheese and shit. Beef is the highest right now. It really is. It's the highest right now. Under Biden was $6 a pound. Sometimes went up to $5, $6 a pound. Oh no, it's over.
Okay, let me hold on. We'll keep talking, but I'm going to give you folks in the comments. I want you to type one of three different words. Since Biden left office and we now have Trump, I want you to type in the comments. Have you seen groceries go up, down, or no change? I want to see from the folks in the comments in their local areas. Up, down, or no change. Whatever you saw since Trump became our commander-in-chief. Up, down, or no change in terms of the price of groceries. There's a lot of ups. Wow. On YouTube as well.
Let me tell you this, though. Let me tell you. When the whole food goes up, okay? When our small business has to pay for the whole food that goes up, because I make specialty cakes. I make African cakes. I make Dominican cakes. I make Mexican wedding cakes. I make it all like that, right? Mm-hmm. I do. I make it like that. I own my restaurant stuff. When whole food really goes up, it's going to be bad. And you guys are going to feel it within the next month or so. It is.
But I think the problem, but Jason, Grandma, I think the problem is the liberals.
And they said a gallon of gas is down $1.50.
Yeah, that's not true. Well,
it's that. You see this shit? Do you see how delusional these motherfuckers are? Do you see that? They are so, and that's what you're gonna be, Tim. You're gonna be like that. They're drinking that. They're sucking so hard on his ding-a-ling, his mini banana, that they're thinking it's $1.50 cheaper. You know, that's how much they fucking hate us. That's how much the fucking hate is in this country. They stole black and brown people. They stole the LGBTQ. They stole everybody and threw us under the bus because of hate. It was never about the gas prices. It was never about how expensive it was. It was for the hate. And this is what they said. Oh, I like it now. This is what we get. Guess what, bitches? It's coming. Oh, your day is coming.
So you're
Because
saying, as opposed to ending wars, as opposed to getting the economy on track. Hold on, hang on. Let me ask you this. As opposed to getting, ending these wars or getting the economy straight or any of this, you're telling me the primary agenda of MAGA is hate.
Yeah, it was. It was never about the grocery prices. It was never about the egg prices. We had the best economy under Biden. We did. The corporate greed, yeah, was fucked up, but nobody would stop it. The president really can't stop it, but it was all for hate. And you know what? Your beloved maggot will put you in a fucking tree faster than somebody else would.
I haven't had any MAGA threaten to put me in a tree, gangster grandma.
They won't tell you, dumb. When does a Triple T ever tell you? You know what, Tim? I'm gonna go put you in a fucking tree. When has they ever did that? And you know what? Let me tell you something, too. Do you really think he's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize? Do you really think that? They are trolling him. They even said it. They even put a poem up. He's not going to get it. Because the way he's doing the shit to the United States. We are the laughing stock of the fucking world. We got a Triple K in office. He treats the undocumented like they're fucking trash and garbage. He's treating everybody that is not white like trash. And you know what? You really think he's gonna win it? Do you really? He's in the Putin's puppet. This ain't gonna go well. No, what's his name? Zelensky is not gonna bow too knee to him. They're gonna fight. And you know what? The Europeans are gonna fight with them. You really think? And let me tell you something, Tim. Stop getting on your fucking knees. Okay, stop it.
What the hell?
You let a white man the other day call you colored. You think that's okay? You latest white people do shit to you. You're fucking twisted, man.
I'm just here to talk to the folks. I gotta move it on, gangster grandma.
Let me tell you something. You're here to talk to the folks. Call the shit out then. If a motherfucker calls you colored again, call the shit out. If a motherfucker's racist, call the shit the fuck out. You know what? Yeah, it is called freedom of speech, but that shit, you have consequences. Call the fucking shit out, you fucking black man.
All right, gangster grandma, thank you for coming through. Moving on with the program, by the way, you guys know gangster grandma never makes it easy. We talked about the whole color thing yesterday. I get some folks found it to be incredibly offensive. Listen, if it happens again, we'll have a whole conversation on it, but I didn't hear it, first of all. I didn't hear it when it was said, but a lot of folks claim they did hear it. Didn't cow! Whoa! I haven't seen that in a while. Appreciate that, didn't cow. We'll be going to the box shortly, but let me chat. Who says that? Frank Mead. Come on over to Instagram or come on over to TikTok. We'll bring you up, Frank Mead. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't allow me to bring up callers otherwise, because most of my MAGA are on those platforms. I would love to bring you up, but YouTube doesn't allow that. MAGA's empathy is top tier. No, I don't think MAGA has a lot of empathy. I agree with that. I love the way that you discuss and consider things for what they are, man. Thank you for that accolade. I hope there is a special place in hell for Trump and his puppets. Damn. She's definitely right, says XYZ. A lot of folks favor gangster grandma. I get both. I get folks in the comments that claim she's drunk or she's toothless or she's uneducated. She's the whole reason the liberals lost. But then again, I get a whole lot of folks that show nothing but love for gangster grandma. She really kind of splits it down the middle. A lot of my audience love her. A lot of my audience despise her. But she's always welcome on the program. regardless of what her opinion is, because we're all about free speech here. And so with you, when you come up, we don't have any type of barrier for why a person should speak the way they do. We believe in free speech, uncensored. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to about, see if we can get up to about 50, F-I-D-D-Y. Tap the screen, get the likes on up. Continuing on, Gangsta Grandma needs Jesus. Damn. The evil sign is fitting. What are you talking about there? What's a gangster grandma? What's gangster grandma YouTube? Everything she said is 100% correct. Wow. I don't think gangster grandma's on YouTube. But the way you guys, gangster grandma would like to co-host the show. I've always thought that might be a bit over the top, but I'm starting to think some of my viewers would love to see gangster grandma co-hosting the show, if not running her own program. Grandma needs a visit from her plug. Damn. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on. Dinkow, good evening. Welcome to the program. Now tell me, Gangsta Grandma. Gangsta Grandma is pretty strong. She didn't. Did she label me wrong? Because I'm taking this to heart. I'm gonna be laying in the bed staring at the ceiling tonight.
Look, keep me out of that, man. That's between you and her, man. I ain't got nothing to do with
all right.
What grandma got going on.
That's
I do agree with a lot of things. I do agree with a lot of things she says, but I disagree with her delivery. But that's just me.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So we were also talking about fraternizing with the enemy, and I talked about how it was so unpopular when President Obama went to see Chris Christie, and Chris Christie gave him a hug. The right really despised Chris Christie, who was a, he was an upstanding Republican at the time. And they didn't like him being friendly with Obama at all at the time. But now all of a sudden, Trump goes and meets Putin, and he's very friendly with Putin. They suddenly think it's the right thing. I'm trying to find out what's the difference, because a whole lot of people in my audience is somehow saying Chris Christie fraternizing with what was perceived as the enemy with Obama is somehow totally different than Trump fraternizing with Vladimir Putin, who right now is considered to be a war criminal. Why is it different when Trump does it versus when Chris Christie did it?
Well, I mean, they don't look at Putin as a war criminal. That's Trump's friend, so therefore he can't be bad. When they talked to Trump and they said, "Hey, this guy is a war criminal. He's a murderer." He said, "We murder people too."
Yeah, he told that to Bill O'Reilly during the Super Bowl interview. So what are you saying? As long as Trump gives you the pass, MAGA's okay with you, no matter what people are accusing you of?
Yes, that's been the kind of thing, right? Like whatever he says. I mean, he says before the meeting, he says Putin, Russia will pay consequences if they don't come up with a deal. They go to the damn meeting. Next thing you know, he talking about we don't need a peace agreement. We don't need none of it. We don't need none of that shit. We just gonna listen to him, and I'm just gonna tell Zelensky. He on there talking about Putin told me that I won the election. What?
I don't know what that. I mean, how does Putin know you won the election?
He said Putin told me if I was the president, there wouldn't have been no war. Putin told me. Putin told me. I said, Lord have mercy. How far have we gone? How far have we fallen when the president of the United States is quoting, this murderous dictator as if he's the, he's the guy that we should be listening to.
Well, my guess is by now most of the I won't say free world, but most of the world in general has started to realize if you speak kindly and favorable to Trump, he's going to view you as a favorable person. So that's probably why Zelensky showed up this time wearing a suit. They're starting to realize all you got to do is kiss the ring and this dude going to be cool with you. So that's probably why Putin came with all of that good information, because he's seen what Zelensky had did.
It was so sad though watching Zelensky do the tap dance. He was doing. Look, I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do to save your people.
Right.
But at the same token, come on, man. It's not like, oh my goodness. give him all of this credit for look what he did. He stopped the war. Look, he's so great. Like,
are we looking at a Nobel Peace Prize for Trump?
no.
Why? If he stopped that war, if he actually,
that's not what Nobel Peace Prize are about. It's about if something happens on your watch, then you get credit, and that's it. Nah, that's no.
So how does it work then? Because Obama got one.
Done? Say what?
How does it work? Because Obama got one. I mean, Obama didn't stop a war where millions of people were dying.
No, because that's not necessarily the Nobel Peace Prize is not necessarily stopping wars. It's about your contribution to a better world. It's not just about you stop the war, because if that was the case, nobody, like, there would be very few people in history that got them. It's not about whether you can.
No, it's about your contribution. I thought it was about your contributions towards peace.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
would that not be a huge?
But saying because that's like saying that he should get one because India and Pakistan figured out, hey, we need to stop this shit because we gonna kill a whole bunch of people. Just because you're the president of the United States and people decide that they're gonna not fight, you're not entitled to a peace prize.
Yeah, but then wait a minute.
If he had to stop the war in 24 hours when he came in, boom, peace prize.
Yeah. But wait a minute. If the Ukraine and Russia come to a ceasefire, that's only happening because of Trump at this point. No other world leader.
That's not true. That's not true.
Explain.
If you cut off weapons to one side and you force them into a bad deal, he didn't. If you're saying if you stop one side's ability to protect themselves, that's not a peace prize. No, a peace prize is walking into the situation and taking the stronger position and say, listen, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, then I'm going to impose something on you to make you stop, and then you make them stop. That's peace prize. Not coming in and shutting off all of the access to one side and making them capitulate. That's not peace prize.
Well, he didn't shut up. I mean, because the Europeans could give him weapons, and America has, under Trump, continued giving the Ukrainians weapons. They just made them pay for them. So he didn't completely shut them down. Right now, they're not shut down.
It's not completely, but damn, if you shut off 100% of their access to weapons, and then you introduce 15%, and they can barely protect themselves, but they still in the fight. No, that's not, like, all of this stuff has to be taken into consideration by the Nobel Peace Prize, the people that actually give it out. Now, keep in mind, he's probably going to get it just because the people just want to capitulate to him because they want him to leave them the fuck alone. So they probably give it to him just because. I don't respect it. I don't think he deserves it. Will he get it? Yeah, he's gotten a whole bunch of things. I spent 20 years in the military and I don't have a Purple Heart. He's got a couple of them.
That's a hell of a contrast. Yeah. I mean, so in other words, when that man said you're going to get tired of winning, he's actually living up to that. I mean, like you said, he's got Purple Hearts. He's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize.
No, I'm not giving him credit for that. When he says we were going to get tired of winning, he has not delivered that. If he said he was going to get tired of winning, I would agree with him, and that would be a factual statement. He should be tired of winning. He can get on TV and say in front of the whole world, hey, I know this is against the Constitution, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then nobody bats an eye. Nobody's marching in the streets. Nobody's getting, going to attack what do they call it? Not a radical government, but what do they call it? The Second Amendment is against
tyrannical. Tyrannical.
Yeah. Nobody's saying it's tyrannical when he gets up there and says, "Look, hey, I'm gonna go ask Congress if I could go ahead and claim martial law over D.C. And if they say no, I'm just go ahead and do it because I don't really need them. And then if I have to, I'll just claim it's an emergency.
Yeah.
It's in front of our faces. I'm a claim.
Yeah, he has said a few things, such as, I'm gonna get 5 additional seats. It is amazing that people are not questioning that stuff. I mean, that stuff is going. I mean, how the hell can you predict before the election even starts you're going to win 5 seats? I mean, the people in that area, their votes don't matter. And you're right. He's talking about claiming martial law and even doing it without Congress by just simply claiming an emergency. I mean, has he gotten to a point though, Cal, where he is indeed so powerful, he don't have to mask his intentions?
If that is the case, which I agree with that statement, he doesn't deserve a fucking peace. He doesn't deserve. He doesn't deserve a goddamn. Like, you can't say those two same things.
I didn't think of it that way. Okay, Well, that is our president, and a whole lot of Americans vote for him. I had somebody tell me the other day, 84 million of us, 84 million strong, love Trump.
84 million? What? How did we get to 84?
I don't know, but that was the number I was getting. How many people voted for him in this last election? It was 70-something?
77?
Okay, well, maybe he picked up another 7 million people from somewhere.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. We just keep giving him credit for shit that he's not even doing. We talking about a Nobel Prize and everything, and it's like, I've already capitulated to the point where I'm saying, look, just fucking give it to him so we can move the fuck on. Because all of this, he just woke up one day and he called the leader of Norway, that Norwegian prime minister, and just started talking to him about him wanting a peace prize. Like, who the fuck does that? Who calls another leader and says, look, I just want, I just want the peace prize. I don't want to.
But wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Why, if I can make a phone call and say, find me 5 seats, find me 11,780, find me a couple peace prizes. Why is that so shocking? He's making phone calls like that every day.
It's not that it's shocking. It's the fact that the people that support him, they don't have nothing to say about that. Like, they can talk about all of the other shit that's going on.
Shit, you about to get swept away, sound like over there. You all right?
No, that was one of those Amber Alerts that came through in Georgia. They done scooped somebody's kid up somewhere in Georgia.
Isn't your state when he had it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are? Isn't that what came from your state, the child murders of Atlanta?
I don't know. Did that start then?
The Atlanta child murderers.
I'm from Detroit, so I wasn't living here back then. I just retired here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's where that, I believe, if I'm correct, that's where that came from. It's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are? That was...
Yeah, I remember because I was scared back then. I was scared, even though the shit was in Atlanta and I was in Michigan. We was all, but we were still...
Yeah.
Because you remember back then, for us, like, we would just leave the house after we got out of school.
Right.
And we just wouldn't come back till the street lights came on.
Yeah.
Like, we just wouldn't come. They would tie a damn string with the house key on around our neck and just send us out into the wild back then.
I mean, it was to the point where if you came in before the street lights came on, I remember parents saying, "Get your ass back outside. What you doing in the house?" They wanted you outside. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I lived in Chicago.
Back and forth in my... Say what?
Yeah, no, I said I lived in Chicago as a young lad, and I remember those commercials. We were kind of frightened during that time too. I mean, it was the way it was. You see, it was a whole lot of children. Every other day, another kid was coming up missing. There was a bunch of them. So yeah, it made people scared.
Right, and we was still out there.
Yeah.
We might have thought of like we was being precautious, but we wasn't. We was still out there, and they was like, "Look, just come home a little bit earlier."
Well, at the end of the day, you gotta live your life. All right, then, Cal, but you gotta live your life. Unfortunately, and you know, it was a black man they caught. They ended up charging with that.
Yeah. It was a brother. He was out there doing, you know, some wild shit.
Yeah.
So you know that was a strike, you know, against the culture. You know what I'm saying?
I think they ended up putting him down too for that. You know, Georgia don't play around with that. Then, Cal, appreciate you coming through.
Hey, what's up with them Epstein files though?
I don't think you're going to get that. As I stated earlier in the program, you know, Steve Bannon said flood the zone. MAGA, I see it all the time in my comments. MAGA say, look, this is what we voted for. We're very happy with Trump. Trump 2028. Trump is God. Trump is daddy. I think that Trump is going to give MAGA so much of what they feel happy with that they'll say, look, I don't like the way Epstein came out, but look, the man gave us everything we wanted. I'm not going to throw out, you know, what they say, throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know, 10% I didn't like, but 90% I got what I wanted. And I think that he's going to please them enough that they're not going to care about the Epstein files.
That's no way you're trying to tell me that Cedric Haney is a pedophile protector.
I'm just telling you, it ain't that they protected a pedophile. I think that if Trump gives them most of what they want, they'll overlook the Epstein stuff. I mean...
That's protecting. That's protecting.
All right, then we'll leave it at that. Didn't Cal? Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. I see in the comments, Twister said, and I told you what? And I told you about the earlier, what did you say? I told you about this earlier, Tim. You are still lying about what? Lying about what? I don't know what you're talking about. Frank Mead, you got to put in a request to come up live. I'll certainly bring you up there, Frank Mead, but you got to put in the request. Going back to the box, we'll bring up Mike Thomas. Good evening. Had to block the spammer. I don't know what you're talking about because we don't have any moderators on this program. So if you get blocked, it can only be done by me, and I don't block anybody. Mike, good evening. I see who you're saying blocked. Yeah, that person does need to be blocked. I get who you're talking about now. All right. Done. Okay, Mike, are you there?
What kind of balls are they like?
Okay, apparently Mike is doing something else. We're moving on. Continuing on with Arsha Fine. Good evening, Arsha. Welcome to the program. Frank. Okay, Frank Mead. Good evening, Frank.
Hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. What am I getting wrong?
You're getting a whole lot of it right.
Wow. Okay. I saw you saying you wanted to come up, but I figured you was going to tear me a new one. So, the Nobel Peace Prize. You think he has a chance of getting it?
I don't think that there's any possibility that somebody with that mentality gets the Nobel Peace Prize.
Elaborate on what you mean by mentality.
It's hard for me. I'm a conservative, I guess, by nature. But I have. It's so difficult to swallow the Trump pill.
Now, did you vote for Trump any of the three terms, three attempts?
Yeah, I did. I voted for him all three.
Wow. So what were you expecting this go round? And you said it's hard to swallow. I mean, what is he?
It's the people. It's the people surrounding the movement that grosses me out.
MAGA. You're talking about MAGA.
Yes. Yes. It's the MAGA movement that is just disgusting. It doesn't seem to have a. When you look at the individuals who are supportive, Marjorie Green Taylor is probably like the worst human being I've ever seen.
But Frank, with all due respect, you voted for Trump 3 times. You do realize most of America thinks you yourself are MAGA. Now, you're bringing up Marjorie Taylor Greene. When you voted in November, Marjorie Taylor Greene was who she was now. She was that person then, and you voted for him.
Right.
So what are you saying?
Well, it's so
understand that it's because there's such a disconnection from reality from the extreme parts of the left, and I would have always considered myself maybe independent, maybe somewhere middle of the road for damn sure. But it's just that the left has gone so far with insane policies.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples.
Backlash.
Give me some examples of insane left-wing policies.
The one, and I think probably the biggest one would be defund the police.
Okay, give me another one. And I'm gonna talk to you about defund the police, but give me another one.
Yeah, defund the police. This is another issue that I have, and it's not necessarily with the right for a woman to choose. I think that people make bad decisions every day of their life, and I think that there's been heavy arguments made for a woman's right to choose being a constitutional right, and again here not necessarily a place where I would find disagreement, but I would say that we should not be funding that.
Okay.
That right.
Let me interrupt. Okay, let me interrupt and first tackle your first one in regards to the liberals defunding police. Now, we know Trump just flooded D.C. with law enforcement. I mean, he's talking about bringing down crime. Yeah, okay, and you favor that. But you do realize during the process of doing that, he essentially took over the role of the police there and I believe he had even demoted or ousted the current police chief. So when you talk about defunding the police, a lot of those DC police officers in that metropolitan area that voted for Trump because the liberals were going to defund the police, he's coming in and threatening their jobs. So, I mean, what's the difference between you losing your job when Trump comes in versus defunding the police? How many federal FBI agents, people who work for the federal government, have lost their jobs because Trump came in? If you're in law enforcement and he does that, what's the difference between that and being defunded?
Well, that's a matter of perspective, because there are so many individuals who I think, and I'm sure you believe too, who are working for the federal government, who are essentially playing a non-essential role, which costs taxpayers money.
What's the difference between that and defunding? That's the same thing. At the end of the day, less cops is less cops. You got a different reason for why you done it, but at the end of the day, you got rid of some cops due to funding. You're saying we were spending too much money, or
you're talking about jobs cut. I'm talking
about
versus jobs cut on the street, or jobs that are crucial to public safety versus jobs that are nonsense.
I'm talking about badges. I'm talking about.
You have to accept there's a fair amount of that. I'm not saying I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everything should be, cut to the stalk, because we don't know the ramifications of that.
Yeah, I'm talking about badges. I'm just simply saying if you voted for the right because you don't like the left threatening to defund the police, and then you get Trump in there and people with badges start losing their jobs, I don't see the difference. I mean, you're losing cops. You're just coming up with a different reason for why you're doing it. But at the end of the day, less cops is less cops.
No, yeah, but what report have you seen? What proof do you have that there's less police officers?
Washington, D.C., where you're going in there and taking the Metro Police Department and you're ousting the chief of police. I mean, that guy pretty much was about to lose his job until a judge stopped Trump. He was losing his job. That's a badge because of Trump.
But was he doing his job?
The liberals want to defund police because they don't think they're doing their job either. I mean, to me, you're getting the same result. You're just defending it from the right and not liking it from the left.
I don't think so. I think that it's a fundamentally different conversation. Like if there's waste that taxpayers that you are paying for, then and let's be dreadfully honest, right? Like the majority of the people that you talk to and I talk to on a daily basis, they don't even pay taxes outside of what they pay in terms of sales tax when they purchase items. So they're at the end of the year, unless you're making a certain amount of money, you're not paying federal income tax. You're not even really.
Yeah, but let me just say this: every reason for why you're giving, for why it made sense for Trump to do what he did, that's the reason the liberals wanted to defund the police as well. They're not doing. Hold on, they're not. Wait, hold on.
Let me say this.
Well, I will, but hang on. Let me finish my statement first. They're not doing their job. Hold on. Let me finish it.
Every time I've attempted to make a statement.
Well, okay. Go ahead and give me your statement. Land the plane.
Okay, so landing the plane is that if Washington D.C., if the city concerned itself with controlling the crime in the city, then there would have never been the necessity for Trump to step in. You know that as well as I know it.
I disagree with that, but keep going.
That's okay, but I'm telling you, from my perspective, that when crime gets to a point of escalation where there's no control within the city, and the city has no answer, and the city has no response, and you saw that the city flipped very quickly to agreeing with having the National Guard come in and get everything under control.
Okay, so to interject, I will just say first of all, the reason I disagree with you is if it was about getting crime under control, he would not be talking about going to places like Chicago and Los Angeles next. He would be talking about going. He would be talking about going to cities
That's where the crime's at.
No, the crime in Chicago and Los Angeles is nowhere near as bad per capita as Memphis, St. Louis, Baton Rouge, Little Rock. The reason. Hold on. Let me. Hang on.
Yeah.
I gave you. Give me a moment to respond. I'm just going to simply say this: the leading factor as to whether or not Trump will come into your city with the National Guard is simply this. Is your governor red or blue? If your governor is red and you live in a violent city, there is absolutely no chance the National Guard's coming there. It's only going to happen in blue states because, as I stated, because I'm giving you the answer. Memphis has a much higher murder rate than Chicago and Los Angeles does. St. Louis does as well. You don't even hear the right talking about those cities. So does Houston. Houston. I don't know if Houston's murder rate is as high as Chicago or not, but it's a lot of crime in Houston. You don't even hear the right talking about Houston in terms of crime. They don't even bring it up. As long as you're in the red state, the Republicans are not going to talk about your crime in your city, no matter how bad it gets. So he's not doing it in effort to bring down crime. He's doing it with a political agenda. Why is that?
I don't know. I listened to you earlier, like defend valid points, and now I'm on the defensive end, and the facts are the facts. Like the cities where people are destroying the.
My caller may have a call. We'll give him a moment to clear it up. Sometimes when you get a call, I see him, he's went to silent or something. We'll give him a minute to clear it up. Because I want to hear what he had to say.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is that there's a very clear difference, and you know the difference. The difference is that the cities in red states or red cities, which they're not red cities. Memphis is not a red city.
Yeah, that's true.
But in those cities or in those states, you have governors that are willing to work with the president. In these other cities where there's national attention and where we've had massive issues that have crossed from political issues to wrongful murders by police officers to natural disasters. In these cities, in many of these cities, they fight.
Yeah, I'm not clear on what you're trying to say, because you said they'll work with the president in red states. I'll just tell you this. If Trump had said he was going to allocate money to D.C. to expand the size of their police force as opposed to sending in military and federal officers, I believe D.C. would have worked with him as well. The mayor of D.C. is, as you pointed out, she's working with him now anyway. So if he had been willing to actually work with her
She
police,
didn't have a choice.
right? So in the red states, he's working with the governors. In the blue states, he's just bullying them and not giving them a choice. He's doing it
He's trying to bring law and order to the street. I mean,
So why didn't he expand the police force?
understand.
So why didn't he not try to first expand the DC police force instead of sending in the military?
Because there's an immediate need, because the people in Washington D.C., the people in Baltimore, the people in Memphis, the people in Houston, the people all over, the innocent people that are being murdered due to recklessness and a lack of law. Essentially, they're allowed to operate and under whatever terms they want to operate.
So if it's an immediate need, then why isn't he talking about expanding the size of the DC police force while he's addressing the immediate need? He's not even talking about doing it in the future. Why is he not doing that?
Well, he's not the police captain.
No, he don't have to be the police captain. What I'm saying is, what he could do is allocate federal funding for the size of the DC police force to swell to deal with this need to address crime you're talking about. But since you say it's an immediate need, send in the military, but make sure the funding is coming in so they can expand the size of their own police force. He's not even talking about doing it. He's making it sound like he's going to lead a military there indefinitely. You think that's the right solution?
Here's what I'm saying. This is different from what you're saying. What I'm saying is that the piece of individuals and communities all over the United States is important, and there's nobody in any community that should not be allowed to walk their community, that shouldn't have the same comfort that middle America has, right? That's the ideal, that's the goal.
That's not answering anything I just asked you, though.
You have a city like Washington, D.C., who we've been funneling billions of dollars into that city for how long?
So what's the goal? To leave the military there indefinitely?
No, of course not.
So why not expand the size of the DC police force, which is what I asked you originally? Why is he not doing that? All he's doing is sending in the military.
Because his responsibility is not that. That's the responsibility of the city leaders, the people who've been elected to.
But he's already said the city leaders are ineffective. That's why the military is there. So what is the goal? Is the military going to stay there forever? I mean, what is the end goal here?
You tell me.
No, he's the one that
you're the one who's in support.
No. I might be in support. No. I might be in support. I'm not in control. I might be in support. I'm not in control. The guy who was in control said the people that hold on. Wait a minute. The guy who was in control said the people of DC didn't know what the hell they're doing, so I have to take over. So now that he's taken over, I'm asking, what is the goal? To just leave them there forever?
You already know that's not the goal.
Then what is it?
You tell me. I don't know.
No. Why don't we know from the guy who took over? Why don't we know what the goal is?
Why don't you know?
Because he didn't tell us.
Know what the goal was from the outset, before the city got taken over. Why was there not?
We're past that.
Caution set in place to prevent that from ever occurring?
Well, the answer to
That
that,
would be my goal. If I was a leader of a city, I would be like, hell, last thing I want is the president coming in and taking control of my city.
okay, but that has happened now. So bringing up what happened before is irrelevant. Okay, the reason they didn't have any plan according to Trump is because they were not effective. Okay, so they're gone now. Trump is in control. What is the goal? Why isn't he telling us that?
I don't think he's in control. I think that he's lent an arm of assistance, and that it's being looked at.
Who's in control?
Perspective.
Who's in control?
The government of the United States.
The government of the United States is in control of DC?
Should they not be?
No, but who's in control of the government of the United States?
Donald Trump.
Right. So in DC, he is in control. Why don't we know the goal?
You want to reduce him to the position of an inept police chief who was a DEI hire.
No, I want to reduce him to the guy who took over the city's police department, replaced it with federal, and simply tell us what is the end goal of this. Is that too much to ask?
No.
Then what is the goal?
I mean, not from him, but you're asking me. What I'm saying is that whatever needs to take place in order for people to stop losing their lives is an effective measure to me.
Right. So if you send the military in and people stop losing their life and you're doing nothing to expand the police force that was already there, then the only way you're going to keep people from losing their lives is to leave the military there indefinitely. That's the whole
So of course the idea would be to expand the police force, but you can't expand the police force when you have Democrats that are running on defunding the police and dismantling a system that has worked.
Do you actually have any evidence whatsoever of anybody in leadership in DC that talked about defunding the police there? Do you have any evidence at all that that's ever been said?
Yes.
Who?
Come on, Doc. You've
Who?
seen all the videos.
I haven't seen any video of the mayor of
Every
DC.
Democrat you've ever seen has called for defunding the police.
So you're saying that
You know that as well as I know.
you're
that.
telling me that Joe Biden and Barack Obama actually said let's defund the police, and there's quotes of that out there.
I'm saying, well, one, I mean, it's
You said every Democrat.
You're really brave for bringing up Barack
You
Obama
said every
and
Democrat.
Joe Biden.
You said every
Joe
Democrat.
Biden. I would say for certain that they were 1,000% behind the idea of defund the police.
Based on what? Based on what evidence?
Based on the evidence that came out of their mouths.
Okay, what did they say?
You can. That's the inconvenient reality.
What? But I want to get what you're saying that Obama and Biden once said defund the police based on what came out of their mouth. I want the quote. What did they say to indicate that to you?
Dude, you already know.
No, I don't. I wouldn't be asking you if I knew already.
You're a bully. And what I'm saying is that you already know that the quotes are innumerous. You already know.
Give me one. I got the whole internet.
You wouldn't have the balls to get on here and try to defend the position.
Okay.
You try to defend the position from this argumentative stance so you want to shut people down to where they can't get an educated word in edgewise. And that's fine.
Wait, hold on. I've been talking to you for 20 minutes.
This drunk bitch. I listened to you talk to this drunk bitch for like.
Hold on. Let's stick to the comment. I've been talking to you for 20 minutes and you respond, but you couldn't get a word in. You're telling me I talked for 20 minutes straight? You ain't said nothing?
Come on, dog. See, this is what I'm saying.
That's what you just said.
That you do. This is the kind of bullying.
Did you get a word in? It's a simple. Did you get a word in?
If I had come at you from
You're not answering any questions at this point. Did you get a word in? That's a simple question.
Yeah, I got a word.
Then why did you say you're not able to get a word in?
Because you keep shutting me down.
You're speaking over and over again, and you're not being shut down. Everybody hears you. They're commenting all over the comments. Everybody can hear you. You're not being shut down. What are you talking about?
Good. What I'm saying is that what you have to offer is based in fiction. Like your basis of reality is bullshit. You know the reason why the National Guard has been called into specific cities. You know the reason why. And rather than help, you want to drag down the individuals that are actually trying to assist in the situation. And I couldn't give a shit what the comments say. I'm telling you, it's bullshit. I listened to you talk to a lady for 30 minutes earlier where you disagreed with her about multiple points of which are the same kind of things that I'm making points about. If I was that individual and I was making those same points, you would agree with me. But because I reach out to you and I tell you, hey, I disagree with you on this basis, you're just there's no dialect. There's no dialect. That's what it is. I've been able to talk plenty, but there's no dialect. It's I say what I say, then you present a completely damning argument because that's what you do.
I just simply asked you to give me the quote that Biden or Obama said about defunding the police. That ain't a damning argument. That's a question. Okay. Okay, hold on, hang on. Assume I'm completely ignorant. You don't tell me I already know. Give me the quote. Why is that so hard?
I already told you. Watch any number of videos.
You don't have the quote. You don't have the quote.
It's out there so prevalently.
I didn't.
I don't have to have a quote, dog. You don't have a quote for any of the nonsense that comes out of your mouth.
Okay.
And when other people call to and I'm not, again, I told you at the beginning of the conversation, it's not even. I'm not a. I am not a MAGA Republican.
I don't think anybody believes that at this point. I gotta move it on. Land the plane. I'll give you the last word. Land the plane.
Nobody believes that at this point.
Yeah, land the plane. I'll just give you the last word.
Why would no one believe that I'm not a MAGA Republican? Because I'm concerned about the safety of the individuals that live in inner cities where they're not being offered protection by the same piece of shit Democrats that they've been voting in for the last 4 decades, 5 decades, that have let them down. So how in the world would that make someone adverse to someone that they would like to see do better, rather than continue to support a wall of bullshit that has been laid in place so plainly before your eyes, and you're so fucking stupid you can't even see it.
All right. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
All right,
anytime, Frank, you're always welcome back. We don't have to agree, ma'am. You're always welcome back on the program. Spirited debate.
All right, man.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on with the program. You don't have to agree with the guests. With the host. You guys know how the program is ran. I don't block, ban, or censor anybody. I don't agree with anything he said. He doesn't agree with anything I said. It is what it is. But I will say this. It does, listen, they have had the mindset that the Democrats want to defund the police because it was a very big talking point. So I get it. I mean, I understand why folks on the right, but if you get most of your media from the right, that's all over the place. But as you saw, when you start asking for quotes, it's not going to come up. I mean, most of the time when I get on here and I say something about Trump, I know people are not going to believe it coming from me or CNN or MSNBC, so I generally try to play clips where you see it coming out of his mouth. if Obama or Biden is in favor of defunding the police, there should be clips where you can tell me what to type in on YouTube or Google, or you can see it coming out of their mouth. He was not able to present that. And by the way, he said every liberal is in favor of defunding the police. Every one of them. Now, I want to just run with that stereotype because many folks are insulted on the right. I'm talking about beloved MAGA. My beloved MAGA finds it very insulting when someone says anything from all MAGA hates immigrants to all MAGA are racist. They don't like those stereotypes. But understand, folks are throwing those stereotypes at Democrats. You're all socialists, you're all communists, you all hate America, or as he stated, you all want to defund police. Do you realize how many liberals work for the police department? You think the entire law enforcement force in this great nation are all Republicans? You realize how many people who voted for Kamala, voted for Obama, voted for Clinton, voted for Biden are cops? So the idea that all liberals want to defund the police is insane. That is insane. There's a hell. You really think a city like Chicago, every cop there is Republican? None of them are liberals? You think they want to defund their own damn jobs? I just want to make sure you guys think about some of the stuff you hear because what he stated is very common. Many folks on the right do indeed believe that all Democrats want to defund police, even though the police force is loaded with Democrats. Anyway, looking in the comments, in Biden's 2022 State of the Union, we should all agree the answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police, fund them, and that's an actual quote, by the way. Now, in fact, I'm pretty sure, I remember that speech. I probably can find that, which that quote alone would go against what he just said about all Democrats. I mean, because I do remember Biden saying we should fund the police. Listen, I know there are some Democrats that want to defund the police, but the overwhelming majority of Democrats in Congress and the Senate and the presidency don't say that shit. BLM walking down the street talking about defunding the police, somebody who has no elected power, that's not all Democrats, and that's where majority of that shit is coming from. So, look, I'm just trying to see if I can find that clip though, but I do know that that is a very popular talking point that comes from the right, that all Democrats want to defund the police. And he was really trying to defend that. And I wouldn't let him. I would concede the point if he had it. But when it came to providing some sort of a comment or a quote, his response was, well, you know, then that's not an answer.
Investigating crime prevention and community police. Cops who walk the beat, who know the neighborhood, and who can restore trust and safety. Let's not abandon police or choose between safety and equal justice. Let's come together and protect our communities, restore trust, and hold law enforcement accountable. That's why the Justice Department has required body cameras, banned chokeholds, and restricted no-knock warrants for its officers. That's why the American Rescue Plan that you all provided $350 billion that cities, states, and counties can use to hire more police, invest in more proven strategies. Proven strategies like community violence interruption, trusted messengers, breaking the cycle of violence and trauma, and giving young people some hope. We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police. Fund them.
And all of the Congress, Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris behind them are all standing up and applauding for this. So any idea, any claim that the Democrats want to defund the police means that the person saying that probably did not watch this at all and is not taking any of this into consideration. I mean, you got the whole of Democratic Congress, Senate, Vice President, Speaker of the House applauding with the president saying the answer is to fund the police. Just literally when I say give me a quote, damn it, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. This is not me arguing that the Democrats are not for, not for defunding the police. Damn it, this is the Democrats telling it to you. This is the Democrats telling it to you. So all of what he was saying right there disappears just simply by playing this clip.
Fund them. Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities.
Now,
I know what.
Now, if Trump said that, it would be the biggest pro-police statement in the world. I don't know. Maybe it changes because the Democrats said it, but that really blows his statement out of the water that all Democrats want to defund the police. Anyway, looking in the comments, I support America, and Trump says, Harry, fair enough. What's the benefits of funding the police but let millions of undocumented people rush in under police watch? Just wait. Well, most of the police don't deal with undocumented. I mean, you realize there's police in every corner of America. There's not undocumented immigrants like that. So I think you're comparing two different things. And DC is out of control. Well, if you're going by the crime rate in DC and suggesting that makes that city out of control, I'm going to say probably out of the top 50 largest cities in America, most of them would qualify as being out of control. Most major cities in the U.S. have a high murder rate. Most of them do. Certainly the top 10. Most of them do, though. I mean, that's just what it is. Big cities in America have a lot of people losing their lives. So if he can use the crime in D.C. as justification to send the military, and then he should be able to do it to most major cities in America using that statement, which also blows out of the notion that the right is not for big government. What Trump is doing is using big government over and over and over again. He's showing that what happened to all this states' rights type shit. And the states don't have the right to protect their cities anymore. We think you're doing a trash job, so we're coming in. Before I take the next call, I just want folks to understand, you and I are gonna like this shit if it comes from the other side. I will tell you with a bit of certainty, any president can create an emergency. If you're okay with Trump using crime as an emergency, you want that shall not be infringed nation we've been talking about with the Second Amendment? There's a lot of gun crimes all over America. You could easily designate that as an emergency to go in and take people's guns. You're okay with Trump picking and choosing what's an emergency. It doesn't stop with him. If you're okay with him doing it, you're opening up the door to other people doing it. I mean, there's a host of things. People can come in your area now and just say it's an emergency. He doesn't stop with Trump. Anyway, looking in the comments, and I do strongly believe that I think that many of the supporters of Trump are okay with him doing stuff that they would never be okay with the opposition doing. And going in cities deeming stuff as an emergency is a primary example of that. I really believe that. Looking in the comments though, Tim, cops are being pulled to serve with ICE for the better money. And that's another one I think that the right would not be in favor of, is allowing cops in their area to not identify themselves and wear masks. The only reason why that's being accepted in America is because most of the people who are accepting it know that they're never going to be dealing with those law enforcement officials. But if law enforcement officials in your area that you could have contact with were allowed to roam around with no ID and mask on, I don't think any of us would be okay with that. We're okay with it because it's happening to somebody else and not us. In fact, I think that's kind of the whole motto governing many of Trump's policies, is that, yeah, they're strict policies, but we're okay because they're not happening to me. Whatever he's doing is happening to somebody else. Even the Venezuelans and Cuban immigrants had that mindset. Well, it's going to happen to the people from Honduras or Mexico, but it's not going to happen to us. God said he deported from you people. Wait a minute. God said he departed from you people for not helping the pop sick, the immigrants. I don't know what you're saying there. Bro, Trump is taking away guns from people who already have multiple violent felonies. Stop acting like he's just taking them away from everyday average citizens. I don't know what the hell you're saying, because I didn't say Trump was taking guns away from any damn body. I'm saying that there are plenty of folks in America that do not maintain possession of their guns. Law-abiding citizens, leaving them in cars, leaving them in unlocked places. Their kids get a hold of them, thieves get a hold of them. I'm simply saying you could deem gun violence as an emergency. You could come up with a host of reasons to deem gun violence as an emergency. I'll give you an example. Now, you're talking about Trump is taking away guns from violent felons. What about the folks who are mentally ill? There's a whole lot of people taking antidepressants, anxiety meds, so they can own guns. There's a whole lot of folks. War veterans come home with PTSD. We're not doing anything in regards to taking away guns from mentally ill people. And many of them go on to do everything from commit suicide to mass casualty events. It would not be hard at all for the Democrats to use that. There is an emergency of mentally ill people still being allowed to own firearms. We need to go in there and take it away. I mean, if you get diagnosed with a mental illness, there's a real good chance that nobody's going to take your gun away. If you get put on antidepressants or some type of anxiety med, there's no law that says you got to give up your firearm. Even if you threaten to take your own life, most states will still let you keep your guns. So there's all sorts of reasons, all sorts of a way to go in and claim an emergency. We've had this many hundreds of people in your city over the last 10 years use their own firearm to unalive themselves. We can show that this percentage of them were mentally ill. We deem this an emergency that's not being addressed. From now on, doctors who diagnose someone with a mental illness are required to report it to the federal government. And the federal government is required to act. Now, the right would not like that. But I'm just simply saying, when you open the door up to presidents being able to declare emergencies, you open up the fucking door. Just want to say that. Anyway, looking in the comments, what percentage of crime in this country is based on that theory? Does it matter? Did Trump give you any percentages at all? I mean, when he went in D.C., he just said crime is out of control. He didn't give you any percentages. Just said it's a bad thing. Remember, Trump was on TV in April saying crime was coming down in D.C. Now, all of a sudden, here we are in August, he's going in with the National Guard. So you don't get percentages from the liberals. You didn't ask for them from Trump. Remember, like I said, if you let him do it, you're opening up the door for other people to do it. He's not giving you percentages. He hasn't given you percentages on any of that stuff. He just said, this needs to be done, therefore it shall. Okay, the next president can do that too. The right love guns more than human beings. Okay, fair enough, doesn't matter. If the president determines it's an emergency, Trump has opened up the door. And then when giving him immunity, oh my God, there's got to be a million ways that could go wrong. Giving a president immunity while they're operating in conjunction with the office, there's a million ways that can go wrong. It's okay when Trump is doing it. You might not like it when a lib is doing it. Let me go back to the box. Continuing on, I don't know. Randy, good evening. Welcome to the program. Randy, are you there? Randy, are you there?
Hey, man, what's going on, Tim?
I'm in the trenches tonight, man. Apparently, I'm getting every damn thing wrong.
I heard that one guy say you were ignorant. I just wanted to come up and say that you're far from ignorant.
Thank you. I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind the criticism, but look, if you can show me where I'm getting something wrong, then damn it, maybe I am ignorant. I can see points all the time, but when you say that all Democrats want to defund the police and it doesn't take but a quick YouTube search to prove you're wrong, I don't think I look that ignorant. I think it's kind of reflected at him.
Well, I'm a Trump supporter, but I appreciate your candidness.
Thank you. So I'm assuming that you don't agree that all Democrats want to defund the police then.
I mean, I don't think all of them do. I think a lot of them do, but not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah, and I think some. I don't even think a lot of them. I'll just say it like this. There are plenty of areas in this country where the government is liberal all the way from the governor down to the state, down to the local government. If liberals wanted to defund the police, there should be police departments defunded everywhere. Because there's plenty of departments where the Republicans have no input at all. I mean, the state of Illinois, for instance, is blue. So there's a whole lot of cities and counties and towns in Illinois that are also blue. No Republican influence at all. So if the Democrats wanted to defund the police, all of those places should be saying it. And you're not hearing a whole bunch of liberal cities saying that our police have been defunded. So it's pretty clear they're not trying to do that.
I'm older, but I just think that we need to, instead of anybody talking about defunding the police or funding the police, We need to demilitarize the police.
Have you been to D.C. lately?
I've never been to D.C.
You're talking about demilitarizing the police. I think he did just the opposite.
Well, I mean, it seems like that. I know there's a lot more crime, and these, there's the one thing we don't ever talk about is these police officers that lose their life. I mean, you gotta respect the law, the rule of law. That's the Bible.
Yeah.
If it's like anybody that gets pulled over today, even just a simple traffic stop and people get shot, it's because they try to run, and you can't. If a police officer pulls you over, you have to respect the law and do.
Yeah, but you don't agree with shooting someone for simply running, do you?
Oh, absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I see these police officers chasing guys down the street at 100 miles an hour. And that's even in the small town that I live in. There's so many police officers here that they don't have to do that. All they would have to do is just shut down certain areas of where they're at if they really want to catch them. I mean, I'm talking about people that are just getting pulled over for simple traffic stops, and they're afraid that if they get pulled over, they're going to have a warrant for their arrest to go to jail or whatever. And I think that's ridiculous. Some cities do have a no chase policy, but very, very few. And then we've got these police officers today that look like they're military officers out of Israel.
Wow.
When they pull you over, they've got. I mean, and I get it. I wouldn't want. I think you would agree with me, Tim. I don't think you'd want to be a police officer in this day and time.
No, I wouldn't want to be a police officer, but I think if I was, because I've done like security work, I've been a bouncer and stuff that is much less in terms of danger. But I believe in de-escalating situations. And unfortunately, a lot of police departments feature a lot of cops that escalate situations. For instance, if you get pulled over by a cop and you're talking shit, I cannot believe you pigs are trying to make a quarter by fucking with me again, which is all 100% legal. Nothing I just said is illegal at all. We know a lot of cops will escalate that situation, start giving you more tickets, maybe start asking you to get out of the car, maybe even take you to jail or rough you up. So I think the biggest problem is that there are too many cops that do not focus on de-escalating situations. I mean, in other words, if the person is not committing a crime, leave them the hell alone. If a guy's standing across the street, filming you, for instance, with his smartphone, don't go over there and fuck with him. You know he can legally stand over there and do that. Quit fucking with him. And that's the problem, is a lot of cops do that kind of stuff. And then when the liberals start speaking out about it, the right tends to say, well, you guys are anti-police.
Well, it's just like anything. It's like any other profession, Tim. When a lot of police officers that are out there, I hate to say this, but I do have a lot of police officer friends and have a lot of respect for them. But a lot of the police officers, they don't know what the law is for sure, and they have what's called, which I think this should be banned in the United States. Excuse me. It's called officer discretion. And whenever somebody throws that word out there, officer discretion, let's say me. I don't drink. I've never drank or anything. But if a police officer pulls me over and he believes that I've been drinking, then he can pull me out of the car and make me do a field sobriety test. If I do a field sobriety test and I fail that test, they can take me to jail for a DWI. Mm-hmm. Now, I can pass it because I'm going to pass a blood test and a breathalyzer, but all the hassle, that's called officer discretion. But what it is, what I see, based on the people that I know and the things that I watch, which is not much, because I don't know much about all that, but what I see on YouTube and stuff, the different videos that I'll watch and stuff, is that people just don't have any respect anymore. Like just kind of like that guy that came up a while ago and called you ignorant. I mean, that's escalating a situation.
Wait a minute. Now, you can see that, but yet you voted for Trump. You do realize that that's what our leadership is doing, right? I mean, the media cannot ask Trump a question without him calling him ignorant.
Well, that's because, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, Tim, our media is extremely corrupt. I mean, they're corrupt.
So what is he doing to further the narrative by okay, if the media is corrupt, and I mean, I'm assuming that you realize Fox News is corrupt too, right?
Right.
Yet he don't do that to them. So in other words, he's corrupt by default as well. That he's okay with one corrupt media outlet, but not okay with other corrupt media outlets. So how is he any better than them? How do you help anybody out by criticizing media personnel and calling them stupid on air? Can you explain to me how that helps anybody out? Certainly when you're ignoring, as you put it, some corrupt networks, you don't even say nothing bad to them at all. So how is he helping anybody out by doing that?
Well, that's no different to me than you platforming the other night. I was so disappointed in you.
Wait a minute, you're talking about a guy who has hundreds of millions of people watching him. You dropped all the way down to me on YouTube. Explain that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's no different to me.
See, it's a big difference. He's got a worldwide audience. What do you mean it's no difference? It's huge.
Know, but I mean, you platformed that Granny's grandma, or what's her name?
Gangsta Grandma.
Yeah, and I mean that lady's just pure vile hatred.
So when you say that's no different, so you're admitting that what the president is doing is horribly wrong because you're comparing his actions to Gangsta Grandma at this point.
I don't think any time that any of us, white, black, brown, anytime that we put each other down for anything that we believe in, you have to have tact. You have to have.
But you voted for that. That's what I'm saying, Randy. You voted for a guy who is doing exactly what you're talking about.
It was the worst of the two evils.
No, Kamala Harris is not known for doing that. She don't call people stupid, and she's not known for doing that stuff.
Well, but the thing of it was, the reason I voted for Trump is because our country, financially, with Social Security and Medicare and things like that, are just our overall state of our economy. I mean, I keep the one thing that I did vote for Trump, and I keep hearing about how great everything is. I don't see it. I mean, for me, I just don't see it. I don't see our prices going down on things. The one thing that Trump has done, he's brought peace in a lot of places, and I never.
What about peace in America? He was supposed to be America first. What about peace in America?
That's what he's doing. Like, he's trying to bring peace to like DC and places like that by cleaning up the streets and making it I've never been there, so I don't know what it's like there.
I've been there. Let me just say it this way. You realize with all of them cops there and obviously the citizens of that area not wanting them there, you do realize all it takes is for one or two cops to do something wrong and they get caught on the camera. That place is a relationship bomb waiting to go off. All you need is for one of them guys to rough up somebody that shouldn't have been roughed up, shoot somebody that shouldn't have been shot, and that whole town is going to go up. There's way too many fucking cops that are unwanted.
I'm so sorry. That's the key word of what you said. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's the key word that you said that you've got to think through, and that is unwanted.
Yeah.
I mean, just because if there's a problem somewhere and people are enjoying or getting away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with, and there's a police presence that's brought in to clean that situation up,
and they're not wanted, well, too bad. That's the way I see it.
Well, yeah, but you're assuming that the police are all going to do right by the people. That's what I said. All it takes is for one of them cops to do something corrupt and get caught on video doing it. And like I said, they're already not wanted there. And by the way, there's a lot of law-abiding citizens that don't want them there either. I'm gonna tell you, like myself, I don't have any criminal history. I always say my criminal history is cleaner than most cops. I don't want a bunch of unnecessary, unwanted interaction with cops. I don't want to be dealing with them. I don't want them stopping me and frisking me and shit like that. That I don't want them there. So that's what I'm saying. There's a whole lot of legal, law-abiding citizens that do not want all that police interaction.
I mean, but think about it. I don't know where you live at, but if you had, you're in your home right now probably, and if you were in your home and there was people hanging around outside your house or walking up and down the street that were looking at your house and maybe stealing your stuff off the front porch and stuff like that, you would want somebody to do something about that. And so you would call the police and say, hey, I'm putting up cameras and I'm doing this. I'm sure you have a Ring doorbell camera. Everybody does. And it's because people don't feel safe today. Like I said, I think there's a lot of problems with the police, and the biggest problem with them is that, I mean, even in a small town that I live in Texas, we have 375 police officers on the street at any one given time. That's a lot.
Yeah. And here's the problem I'm saying. Now, I agree with you. You want to live in a safe environment. I'm okay with that. I don't want people looking at my house and all. And I don't think most people in D.C. are dealing with that, where they come out the house and somebody's looking at that. It ain't as bad like that, because Trump is on record saying that D.C., the crime was coming down. Just a few months ago, he said that. And all of a sudden, now it's become a powder keg of crime. He wasn't saying that a few months ago, but I will say this. If I come out to go to work, after hours or something like that, and there are 7 or 8 cops standing down the street on the corner of my block, I don't look at that and say, yeah, I feel safe. That's a great thing. Because now I'm looking, when I get in my car, I better make sure I put my seatbelt on. I better stop at the stop sign for at least 3 seconds. I better put on my signal, because now I expect them to fuck with me. I don't look at that as a great improvement, because the cops have more power over me than the criminals do. And with that many eyes on me, I don't trust what they may end up doing.
Right. I know how you feel. I have a clean criminal record, and I've never done anything in my life, but still, if I'm driving down the street and a police officer gets behind me right up on my ass or something, I don't feel like that's a good situation,
No, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is, you can only put so many cops in an area before people start feeling uncomfortable from the cops. It's like you want a well-managed office, but if there's too many managers there, now you got micromanaging, and it's no fun to work there. I don't want to drive down the street and every damn turn there's a cop in my rearview mirror. I don't want to be in that environment. Because now all of a sudden, these people got to justify their existence. So moving violations are going up. People getting ticketed for shit like jaywalking and shit, because they got to justify why they're there. That ain't an improvement.
I read one of your comments that it just saddens me that we, up to this point in this country, it just saddens me so much. And yeah, you're right. I'm not black, and I don't know what it's like to be black. I don't know what it's like to be black, but when people say Randy's white and he gets special privilege because he's white, that's not true. You got to remember that. I have all kinds of different friends, and I hear their stories, and they tell me things, and it is. I do think it's really bad the way some people act. Police officers act toward black people, toward white people, toward every race. It's not just blacks. And I think that blacks probably do get targeted more than white people do. I believe that, because I do have friends that tell me stories that they go through. But
well, I'm going to be honest with you. Your friends are not going to get satisfied with President Trump talking about flooding black cities with cops You ain't doing them no favor at all by voting Trump in, because he's going to give them exactly what they don't want, because he's talking about going to other cities that are predominantly black and doing it there as well.
But don't you think, Tim, I mean, as smart as you are, that I always see you as being such a smart man, and I always think, man, I wish Tim could just be more of a uniter instead of a divider.
We didn't vote for unity. You voted for Trump. We voted for, the man just said the other day, I hate all Democrats. We did not vote for unity.
Stop trying to play with his intelligence. I guess I need to quit reading the comments. But you guys, listen. Tim is a smart guy. I've been listening to him for at least a year and a half now.
Appreciate that.
And,
Thank you.
I've heard you say a lot of things, and the most important thing is that you let people air their opinions, and you don't. Even when people call you ignorant or whatever, you don't get mad about it. You don't block them.
I can't control how people feel, man. They passionate. I would rather they not do it, but this is an uncensored show, so be it. I got to move it on, but I'll give you the last word.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tim. I love you, man, and I'm praying for you, and thank you for coming up here and trying to help us all understand where we're at.
My door's always open to you, Randy. Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program. Will G says Trump and MAGA ain't shit. He says the same people that are exited for Trump's means tweets are disgusted by Newsom's emulation, talking about off-putting. I think I kind of get what you're saying, is that folks do not like what Gavin Newsom is saying, even though Trump says things that are similar, if not worse. And that is true. To me, it's the snowflake theory, where if the Democrats have a problem with Trump's mean tweets or insults, they're snowflakes. But knowing damn well, if you insult Trump, they're going to have a problem with it. And Trump's skin is really thin, really thin. I mean, the fact that he's talking about getting rid of Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship because of what she's saying about him in Ireland, what the fuck? So I get what you're saying, Will, and I do agree that look, we voted for division. So if you get a Democrat running for office like Gavin Newsom saying some shit, or even Jasmine Crockett or somebody like that, look, you've been celebrating Marjorie Taylor Greene showing Hunter Biden's dick on the House floor. You can't complain about Jasmine Crockett at this point. You either like this shit or you don't, and you've been cheering it on the whole time. So kind of is what it is. I mean, like we hear about the Trump derangement syndrome on every, you guys just cannot stop talking about Trump. He lives rent-free in your head. Every single time you put a microphone in Trump's face, he's still talking about Biden. The war wouldn't have ended if it wasn't for, he stole the election from me. He used the justice every single day. Okay, you beat all of that shit. You don't have any charges pending anymore. It doesn't matter what the 2020 election is anymore. You're in every single time you put a microphone in front of Trump's face, he's talking about Biden. How the hell is that not derangement syndrome? How the hell is that not Biden living in his head rent-free? Biden is sitting at home with prostate cancer and old age. He ain't saying shit about Trump. It's not even on TV anymore. But yet Trump, every single chance he gets, is talking about Biden, and I don't hear MAGA saying anything at all about derangement syndrome. Even though what Trump is doing literally fits the definition of what they call derangement syndrome. Literally fits the definition of it. Cannot stop talking about the guy. Period. He was talking about him today again. Every one of his summits, whether it's in America or overseas, he's bringing up Biden. This is Biden's war. This is Biden's economy. I mean, just Biden. I mean, goddamn it, you knew you was taking over his economy and his war when you got elected. Why the fuck you still talking about it 8 months later? You know this already. Everybody already knows you think the war would not have happened if you were elected in 2020. But you weren't. Okay, get over it. When can we move on from you still talking about Biden started the war? He can't get past it. How is that not derangement syndrome? Somebody let me know. If Newsom emulating Trump is so disgusting, then you're endured disgusting behavior for at least the most 10 years. Like I said, I totally agree with you. You're saying that if Gavin Newsom's emulating Trump, if that behavior is so disgusting, then that's what you've been enduring for the last 10 years. I mean, not to mention Trump posting a picture of Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck and shit like that. Like I told my last caller, we voted for division. You cannot get in there and complain or start talking about unity. We literally look when Trump got when somebody tried to take Trump out in Pennsylvania. We covered that the day it happened when they grazed his ear or whatever, and you see Trump in a still shot, and he's holding his ear. Right behind him is a lady that has a big ass shirt on that says "mean tweets." How can you talk about division if people are showing up to rallies with "fuck your feelings" and I can go for some mean tweets and Pocahontas says you voted for division? Okay. When the Democrats try to run for office, they see you like division, so that's what they're going to give you. They're not going to give you unity. You've made it clear you would prefer a divisive leader. So that's what you're going to probably get. Looking in the comments here real quick. Don't know what I just did here real quick. We'll go right back to the box. Arsha Fine. Good evening, Arsha. Divide and conquer. Well, like I said, we voted in this country for division. You didn't vote for Trump because you thought he was going to unify everybody. He hasn't even promised to do that. He literally has made it clear, I'm going to be divisive. Everything he said, I mean, he's really critical of Democrats. Whether maybe you agree with him, fair enough, but you can certainly assume that's not going to bring Democrats on his side. When you're calling their city shitholes and stuff like that and saying that you hate all Democrats, I mean, I guess you would assume that he's not going to like you. That's the goal, right? The orange diaper-clad asked for a Nobel Peace Prize. Only him would do that. Yeah, I don't know why you would ask for a Nobel Peace Prize, but like I said, he asked for 11,000 votes. He asked Texas Governor Greg Abbott to find him 5 more seats. I mean, some people tell you the only way you're going to get some shit is to open up your mouth and ask for it. It's unprofessional, I get it. But Trump has had great success in doing things the way he's done them his whole life. Why would you expect him to change at almost 80 years of age? He's had great success in operating the way he does now. My guess is before he became president, when he was the head of the boardroom, he was probably talking about people the same way he talking about Democrats. Talking about rival companies the same way he talks about Democrats, rival CEO. He's probably been doing that his whole life. It's been very lucrative for him. He didn't just pick that up when he entered the White House. He's probably been doing that. And it's been working for him. The tangerine Palpatine. Damn, Mr. Will G. The tangerine Palpatine. That's a different name. I've never heard that. If you live in a big city, then you know there's a race war going on. I don't know about that. I don't know if there's a race war going on in New York or in Los Angeles. Now, I'm not going to suggest that there may not be one brewing, but you said if you live in a big city, then you know there's a race war going on. I haven't heard that. Tim, have you ever thought about selling T-shirts? I thought about merchandising. I have considered it. I don't know what I would put on because I got an audience that's on both sides of the aisle. So, what the hell could you put on a T-shirt that everybody's going to like? Maybe a shirt that says "I hate every fucking body." Maybe that might sell because that's what a lot of my audience is. I hate everybody. Let me go back to the box. I tried to bring up Arsha Fine. I guess she dropped. Want to make sure I get these. TikTok actually censors comments and I have to go in and tell them no, that person can say that. So I go through I don't believe in censorship. Understand that. This is an uncensored program. When I say we go left of Bernie Sanders so I'm having dinner with Q, I mean that. So TikTok will often tell me this comment, may have violated or whatever. Do you favor it? I just say yes. I believe that people should be able to speak. So I have to go in there and uncensor comments that TikTok is trying to do. About to stop 8 wars within 8 months, no peace prize. Well, Trump is saying he stopped 5 wars so far. I'm not for sure that's true. And I have not heard those countries giving Trump credit for it. If he's stopping wars like that, yeah, that could be something where people will say he's worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize. But I understand Trump has a lengthy history of saying he accomplished things that he really didn't do. My inauguration crowd size was the largest in U.S. history. I won the 2020 election by a landslide. I mean, he says things that turn out not to be true. So I'm not going to say it's not true, but I don't know where the evidence is. I haven't heard, like for instance, he claimed he ended a war between Pakistan and India. They claim he did not. Those two countries claim he didn't have nothing to do with that. So just understand Trump makes a lot of claims that are favorable to him that oftentimes turn out not to be true. And of course, I understand my beloved MAGA, and I've said this many times on the program, MAGA don't generally need proof when Trump says something. If Trump says the election was stolen, damn it, it was stolen. If Trump says that Biden is trying to use the Justice Department to arrest him, they just believe this stuff. He don't have to prove anything to them. That's why I got somebody in the comments that are saying that, well, Trump stopped 8 wars. Only place you heard that is from Trump. You haven't heard that from anybody in the UN or NATO. Only place you heard that is from Trump. And without any proof, it's good enough. It's good enough. All he has to do is say it. So I don't know. I'd have to look into more from the parties that are involved giving Trump credit. And I have not heard that. I just heard it coming from Trump. And like I said, he makes a whole lot of comments that later pan out. I mean, I forgot what he gave as his height and weight when he had the mugshot taken in Georgia, but it was way off according to most people. I've heard people even suggest when he plays golf, he doesn't play accurately. So anytime Trump gives you numbers, if those numbers can be adjusted to benefit him, expect that they are. Expect that any numbers he give you, if them numbers can be adjusted to favor him, expect that those numbers. Look what happened with the job numbers. He just fired the labor commissioner and put somebody in that's a friendly. What do you think the next jobs report is going to look like? Probably it'll be quoted as being the best job numbers in history. I mean, that's just, so when he says he ended 8 wars, I'm just going to simply say I need to see third-party proof, because he exaggerates all the time. Star Wars reference. Palpatine, the evil empire that never dies and ordered the execution of all Jedi. Just orange. I don't know if I haven't seen Star Wars in so long. It went over my head. Will. That's what happened. Newsom, the best. That's nuts. Well, I will say something in regards to Gavin Newsom. Because he's starting to go against the whole, when they go low, we go high, he's gaining ground in the Democratic Party. And there's plenty of room to do that, considering the Democrats do not have a strong leader right now. So Gavin Newsom clearly